Cyberpunk. Can I install game mods? Chapter 1. Lao Wei's new assistant Cyberpunk World. November 2073. Watson District, Little Chinatown. In the basement behind Misty's psychic house. It hurts. This was the only thought in Rocky's mind. I opened my heavy eyelids and was greeted by the glaring light. You finally woke up. It took me a lot of effort to pull you back from the brink of death. Who are you? My name is Victor, and I'm a cyborg doctor. When I was out today, I saw you lying injured in the alley, so I brought you back. Fortunately, although the injuries were serious, they were not completely fatal. His left arm was completely crushed, his left leg was fractured, and 3 ribs on the left were broken. The left arm cannot be restored, so it was replaced with a prosthesis. As for other parts, they will be fully restored in 3 months at most without the prosthesis. Of course, I can replace them for you if you want, but I still suggest that you don't install too many prostheses at one time, as it will put a burden on your body. I'm actually more curious about where you came from. You're a complete native, and you're very delicate. You don't look like a penniless wanderer, but you're also not a big guy who worships the power of nature. Maybe he is the pampered young master of a large corporate family. It's really rare. After listening to Victor's words, Rocky's cloudy brain instantly became clear. He glanced at the mature man wearing sunglasses sitting next to him, and then looked at the surrounding environment. The empty and somewhat dim basement is filled with tables and cabinets filled with various medical supplies and electronic screens full of technology. Everything around him overlapped with the scenes in his mind one by one. Now Rocky is clearly aware of where he is. There is no doubt that he has traveled to the world of Cyberpunk. I actually came to Cyberpunk. This semi-hook is really cruel. It just touched me and brought me to Cyberpunk. My left hand was directly broken. Fortunately, in this Cyberpunk world, I can get a prosthetic body. Otherwise, I would still be a disabled person. While thinking about it, Rocky tried to control his left hand and felt that it was no different from his own hand. It was worthy of being the cyber world. Thank you, Victor. If it weren't for you, I would have been dead. As for where I came from, I'm sorry, it's a bit complicated and I can't explain it clearly. But now I am helpless and penniless, and I may not be able to pay for your medical expenses and the cost of prosthetics. But I will definitely find a way to return it to you. I hope you can give me some time. Rocky quickly calmed down, but his headache was that he was penniless now and had to find a way to get some money, otherwise he wouldn't even be able to pay for the prosthesis. Fortunately, the person who picked up Rocky was Victor, one of the few conscientious cyborg doctors in Night City. Rather than other black-hearted doctors or even kidney-cutting scavengers, the former can sell him directly to Dolph to break him down into organs for money when he can't afford the medical expenses. The latter is more direct. Once they are seen, they don't even have a chance to wake up and will be decomposed directly. Rocky was grateful for this and was also very grateful to Lao Wei. It doesn't matter. Basically everyone who comes to Night City has a past that is difficult to explain. Just pay me back when you have money. By the way, I don't know your name yet. Sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. Just call me L. By the way, if you don't mind, could you let me be your assistant, or do any other job, as long as I have a place to live and food to eat? Look at my current state, it is really difficult to survive outside. Although I don't know anything now, I will work hard to learn, and I hope you will give me a chance. After a brief thought, Rocky decided to hold on to his partner. It was rare to meet a person with a conscience at the beginning, which was a rare species in Night City. Now that his injuries have not healed yet, Rocky doesn't think he can do anything even if he goes out in this state. The best option now is to stay with Lao Wei, recover from the injury, and see if he can get a job to pay off the debt and make some money. And until now Rocky has not felt that he has any golden fingers. If he does not have any special abilities, in this cyberpunk world where human life is worthless, with his small body, perhaps staying with Old Wei as an ordinary person for the rest of his life would be the best ending. After hearing Rocky's words, Old Wei rubbed his chin with his hands on his knees and fell into thought. Maybe Lao Wei doesn't need an assistant in his shop at all. There weren't many guests to begin with, so he alone was enough. Besides, he just wanted to live a normal life now, so having one more person would always be a bit strange. And he didn't look simple. He looked clean and didn't look like a homeless man who didn't have money to install cyber modification. He was thin and didn't look like a person who advocated original power. Maybe he was a young master of a big family who was in trouble, and he might be involved in the vortex of some company. After a moment's silence, Rocky looked at the thoughtful Old Wei and felt very unsure. After all, He had helped enough, and it was hard to say whether he would still take him in. Of course, if Rocky knew about Lao Wei's concerns, he would definitely vomit blood. After all, he is really innocent. Of course, if you insist that his origins are indeed not simple, after all, he is a time traveler. Okay, you can stay here as my assistant. I can provide you with food and lodging, and I will pay you as usual. As for whether you stay or go after you get better, I don't care. Of course, you have to pay off your medical expenses first. After thinking for a moment, Lao Wei spoke. I don't know why, maybe he wanted to help him to the end, or maybe he felt that Rocky really needed help when he saw his innocent face. In short, Rocky successfully stayed in Lao Wei's shop and became an assistant to a pseudo-doctor. Time flies, and 2 years have passed in the blink of an eye, November 2075. It's almost the year 2076 and the Edgewalker is about to start. Let's see what we can do, Rocky thought as he inserted a prosthetic eyeball into the eye socket of the customer in front of him. In the past 2 years, Rocky has basically integrated into and gotten used to life in the cyberpunk world. He has been staying in Lao Wei's shop to learn prosthetic surgery and medical technology. In his spare time after get off work, he uses it to learn boxing and research hacking technology from Lao Wei. What surprised Lao Wei was that this young man of unknown origin learned things very quickly. With the patient help and education of his old master, Rocky, as an assistant, has fully learned his skills, and his craftsmanship has been recognized by his old master. It can be said that Rocky is now a fully qualified prosthetics doctor. As far as the entire Watson area is concerned, Rocky's skills are only second to Old Wei, so now the prosthetic surgeries are basically performed by Rocky and Old Wei in turn. Of course, in order to give Rocky more opportunities to practice and make money, Old Wei usually gives the surgery to Rocky. Chapter 2 Boxing Training as a Cyborg Doctor. Rocky actually doesn't have a cyborg doctor certificate, but no one in Night City cares about this thing, and with Old V around, there is no need to worry about accidents. He skillfully installed the prosthetic eye for the customer, then cut off his arm and installed a new prosthetic arm. After working for a while, we waited for the anesthesia to wear off and gave our dear guest a dose of soft stimulant to inhale, marking the perfect end of the operation. After doing all this, Rocky stretched his body and took a deep breath. Why do I feel weird today? I feel like something is going to happen. Maybe I watched Mewtwo too late yesterday. Rocky had a strange premonition today, but he quickly calmed down. Maybe it was just because he didn't get enough rest, he comforted himself. Old Wei, it's done. Are there any other customers today? There are no appointments left and it's getting late, so pack up. After receiving the transfer from the customer, Lao Wei didn't even turn his head, obviously having confidence in Rocky's skills. In a short while, Rocky cleaned up the shop. Coming to the sandbag in the store, Rocky took off his clothes, revealing his strong and explosive muscles. The prosthetic arm on the left hand is not equipped with bionic skin. The gorilla arm full of cyber-mechanical beauty is exposed to the air. The intersection and fusion of flesh and machine reveals a different sense of oppression. Rocky put on his training equipment and tied gloves on his hands with ease, then started today's boxing practice. Lao Wei used to be a legendary boxer in Night City. Later, because he couldn't stand the gossip and human relationships in the boxing ring, he chose to retire and became a nominal doctor in Watson District. But he also retains the habit of watching boxing matches and practicing boxing, so there is a corner in his store dedicated to displaying his past glory and boxing training equipment. After get off work, Rocky would ask Lao Wei to teach him how to box. After all, it would be a waste to have a legendary boxer in the store. Bang, bang, bang. The sound of fists hitting the sandbags began to ring out in the store. Old Wei, who was watching the game, heard the sound, turned his head to look in Rocky's direction, smiled and shook his head. This guy never rests for a moment. Ever since Rocky came to the store, he has been learning non-stop. In addition to learning surgical medical machinery and other prosthetic knowledge with him during the day, he also takes him to learn boxing after work. As far as he knows, Rocky will continue to learn hacking knowledge after returning home at night. In Lao Wei's opinion, Rocky worked so hard when he first arrived in Night City, he must have some goal to achieve, maybe revenge, or fame, or he just wanted to live a good life. In short, Lao Wei was helpless at first, but later he admired Rocky, a young man who suddenly appeared. He saw his former self in this young man, so even though it usually takes a lot of energy to teach Rocky, he is still willing to help him. Fortunately, Lao Wei also loves to practice boxing. Now that there is someone who can practice boxing with him, he feels more fulfilled. Old Wei stood up and walked to Rocky, put on his boxing gloves, and Rocky stopped training. Tonight is their weekly match. I hope you can defeat me this time. Don't worry, I will. When I defeat you, can you give me half of the trophies on your wall and put them in my new clinic? Rocky pointed to the various trophies on the wall and joked. These were the honors that Old Wei had won. Those are all in the past. If you can really beat me, I'll give it to you. After hearing Rocky's request, Lao Wei agreed with a smile. After 2 years of training, Rocky's strength is actually very close to that of Old Wei. Last time, Old Wei even barely won. Maybe this time Rocky can beat him. But in that case, Old Wei would not feel sorry for his trophy, but would be happy for Rocky. After a while, the two finished warming up and started fighting in the space vacated in the store, punching, blocking. The two men fought back and forth, their punches full of explosive power, breaking through the air with a crisp whistling sound. Since both of them know each other inside and out, if they want to break through the other party's defense and cause damage, they can only rely on on-the-spot reactions to make a more perfect response. The two men were in a stalemate for a long time, and their punches were powerful, but there was no substantial breakthrough. If this continued, it would only depend on who had greater resilience and endurance. As to who is stronger, the old legendary boxer or the young player who has undergone 2 years of hard training, it is quite suspenseful. Judging from the current situation, Rocky has the upper hand. But at this moment, the stalemate situation suddenly changed. Rocky, who had been defending steadily, suddenly felt a tremor in his heart, and that strange feeling inexplicably surged into his heart again, as if his soul was telling him that something important was about to happen. Although Rocky quickly adjusted his mentality, the momentary deviation still made his reaction half a beat slower, and he failed to block Lao Wei's upper punch. This punch hit Rocky's face firmly. Old Wei didn't give Rocky any face at all. He seized the opportunity and launched continuous attacks, hitting Rocky with heavy punches like a rainstorm. Originally, the two of them maintained an extreme balance, but Rocky revealed a flaw and was seized by Old Wei. The outcome is predictable. Rocky was quickly knocked to the ground by Lao Wei. Why are you distracted, thinking about your new prosthetic clinic? Grabbing Rocky's outstretched hand, Lao Wei pulled Rocky up from the ground. He did not blame Rocky, but just teased him with a little doubt. No, I just have an inexplicable feeling. I don't know why, maybe it's because I didn't get enough rest. Rocky shook his head. Then let's stop here for today. You should go back and have some rest. You are the same kid. You have to live to use all the things you have learned. If someone doesn't know you, they would think you are a corporate dog who owes a lot of debt and never takes a rest all day long. Just as Rocky was about to pack up and go home, someone knocked on the door of the clinic, and a message from Misty popped up on the computer. Open black lens bracket. The delivery guy came to my door and I let them in. Close black lens bracket. Let me do it. Rocky, an assistant in the store, approved the visitor's permission application and the door of the clinic was opened. 3 men in suits came in, 2 of them were carrying a large cargo storage box. This is the latest prosthesis delivered by Lao Wei's prosthesis supplier. The delivery man looked at the 2 muscular men with their muscles exposed to the air staring at him, and couldn't help but feel lucky that he was not looking for trouble. But it is true. The last wave of scavengers who came to cause trouble were beaten by Rocky so hard that they had to undergo cyber denture transplants. Hello, Mr. Victor. This is the prosthesis and prosthetic inserts you ordered from us. This is the list of items. Please check it. Chapter 3 System. After the leading man in a suit finished speaking, he handed Lao Wei a chip, which contained detailed information and data about this batch of prostheses. It was obvious that this was not the first time he had delivered goods to Lao Wei, and he was quite familiar with the situation in the store. Okay. Lao Wei reached out and took the chip handed over by the man in the suit and inserted it into the store's computer system. Although Lao Wei's clinic can be considered an underground clinic, unlike other underground clinics, the prosthetics in Lao Wei's store are all genuine products purchased from legitimate suppliers. Although there are quite a few second-hand ones, they are all replacement prostheses obtained through legitimate channels, rather than second-hand prostheses purchased from scavengers or stripped from corpses. The prostheses provided by these suppliers are reliable, and all information, from production models to batches to distribution channels, can be traced. What Lao Wei is doing now is just routine verification before receiving the goods. Come and take a look too. Most of these prosthetics are ordered for you, so it would be better if you come and check them out. Lao Wei called Rocky to help check them out. Most of these prosthetics were indeed ordered for him, just as Lao Wei said. In the past 2 years, Rocky has grown into a qualified prosthetics doctor. Although Lao Wei's shop has a stable customer base, it is obvious that there is no need for 2 prosthetics doctors here. So not long ago, Rocky, with the help of Lao Wei and the money he had saved in the past 2 years, rented a shop and prepared to open his own prosthetic clinic. The clinic is currently being renovated, and these prostheses were ordered by Lao Wei for Rocky for the initial consumption of the clinic. Of course, the money was paid by Lao Wei. Oh, okay. Rocky suddenly came back to his senses after hearing Lao Wei's voice. Just when this group of people entered the clinic, Rocky's feeling became more obvious. That feeling reached its peak when the man in the suit took out the chip of the prosthetic list. He was now sure that there was something very important to him in this chip. The chip was inserted by Lao Wei, and the information inside was quickly read out. Rocky also adjusted his mentality and stared at the computer screen with full concentration. Chi Lucy's prosthetic eye, Stevenson's network access bay, Gorilla's arm. Lao Wei checked the prosthetics in the storage box while comparing the list. Rocky frowned as he watched Old Wei check all the prostheses, but he didn't find anything suspicious. After checking that there was no problem with the prosthesis, Lao Wei deposited the balance into the supplier's account. Thank you for your support of our company. Welcome to choose our services again next time. Having completed the transaction, the man in the suit said thank you as per procedure and left with his people. After watching the delivery man leave, Rocky pointed to the chip on the table and said, Old Wei, can you give me this chip? I'll study it. Okay. After hearing Rocky's request, Lao Wei directly handed the chip to Rocky. This chip was originally given to the buyer, and the supplier will not take it back. Only a small portion of this batch of goods will be used to replenish the inventory in Lao Wei's store. Most of the rest will eventually be transported to Rocky's clinic, so it is reasonable for him to keep it. Okay, I'll be leaving now. See you tomorrow, Lao Wei. See you tomorrow. After keeping the important chip, Rocky put on his clothes, packed his things, and said goodbye to Lao Wei. Walking out of Lao Wei's clinic, there were several Night City citizens sitting or standing in the narrow alley. They gathered in groups of 3 or 4, some chatting about various news in Night City, gang wars, cyber madmen, while others were cursing the oppression of the company and the injustice of society. Rocky was already accustomed to all of this. When he came to the main road, he saw more pedestrians walking in a hurry. The little Chinatown at night was not as prosperous as the Kabuki district or Japan Street next door, nor was it an entertainment center. Most of these people were ordinary civilians who had just got off work and were eager to go home to enjoy the few remaining time squeezed out of them by the company. As soon as I walked out of a street, I saw a number of NCPD police officers fighting with a cyber madman. Although the proportion of cyber madmen appearing in Little Chinatown is relatively low, they are not rare. Citizens at the scene of the incident fled, but unfortunately many innocent people still died. Seeing the half of the body that was blown away by the projectile launcher installed by the cyber madman and fell and slid to his feet, Rocky quickly took 2 steps back to avoid being splashed by blood. The shattered face could barely be seen as a middle-aged woman. With better eyesight, he could also see the work badge on the chest of the deceased. It looked like she was just an ordinary laborer. After taking a look at the half-dead body in front of him, Rocky didn't dare to continue watching the fun. He turned around and took another detour home. It may be a little absurd, but this is Night City, this is Cyberpunk, a deformed society in the craziest city. Companies are high above, ruling the city and squeezing the wallets of ordinary people. The city below is full of gangs, and endless gang wars are everywhere in Night City. There are also cyber madmen who have lost their humanity and are equipped with terrifying cyber weapons. You never know when they will attack and reap people's lives. Oppression and despair are the main themes hidden behind this glamorous city, and lingering on is the most realistic portrayal of the people at the bottom of Night City. This is why Rocky dragged Lao Wei to learn so many things, because it is not easy to survive in this fucked up city. The ability to make money and the ability to deal with danger are both indispensable. Rocky's home is not far from Lao Wei's clinic, only 2 streets away. Soon Rocky returned to his apartment in the skyscraper H10. Let me see what's going on. After taking a shower to relax his tired and sore body, Rocky adjusted his mindset and inserted the chip into his personal system slot. The chip was read quickly. In addition to the list of prostheses seen in the clinic, there was also an unknown program. Rocky knew the answer was in this program, and with strong curiosity Rocky ran the program. open black lens bracket. Probe number 1,145,149,527,007 of the dimensional module library is running, close black lens bracket open black lens bracket. Trying to connect to the main database, close black lens bracket open black lens bracket. Connection successful, close black lens bracket open black lens bracket system adaptive installation in progress, close black lens bracket. A series of pop-up windows popped up in Rocky's personal system. Looking at these strange yet somewhat familiar things, Rocky's head felt a little buzzing. Is this a system? Excluding the possibility that someone was joking with him, Rocky seriously suspected that his golden finger had arrived, but it arrived a little late, and the way it appeared was a little strange. Open black lens bracket. Installation successful. Close black lens bracket. Soon the system showed that the installation was complete, and then a subsystem called Module Library appeared in his personal system. Chapter 4 Stimulant Module. After opening the subsystem, the system interface looks very simple, with only two different modules presented in front of you. Mod Library and Installed Mods. Rocky briefly studied it and roughly understood the functions of the system. Simply put, it is a module store where you can download and install modules in the module library to obtain the items, abilities or technologies contained therein. Downloading modules requires a certain amount of currency, which varies according to the value. The system currency is synchronized with the currency of Cyberpunk, both of which are euros. The account balance displayed in the upper right corner of the system is also consistent with his personal account balance. The mod store page is opened, which lists different mods and has filtering and search functions. Rocky clicked on the largest and most conspicuous module, open black lens bracket. Basic production, module integration package close black lens bracket open black lens bracket a module bundle that includes 5 basic production measures, workbench, anvil, furnace, alchemy table, and enchantment table. It is a pre-module for multiple recipe expansion modules. It also comes with a workbench scanning function expansion module. It is the first choice for newcomers. Close black lens bracket open black lens bracket price. 10,000 euros corrected close black lens bracket open black lens bracket price adjustment. 10% world adjustment plus 30% gift package special offer minus 30% basic package special offer minus 90% close black lens bracket. The original price of this module was 100,000 euros, but after a series of price adjustments it was reduced to 10,000 euros. The world adjustment represents the adaptability of the module to the world. The more compatible it is, the lower the price will be, and vice versa. For example, if you want to install a magic module, the world modification will be very high, while if you want to install realistic technology, it will be cheaper. The gift pack discount refers to the price discount of the integrated package. Often downloading the integrated package will be more favorable than downloading each module separately. As for the basic package discount, this is unique to this integrated pack. Rocky looked through other integrated packs and found no such discount. It should be a discount similar to the novice benefits. Rocky was not in a hurry to download the module. He looked at his balance and found that he still had 30,000 euros left, which was not a lot, and the modules he could download were limited. Rocky didn't make much money in Lao Wei's store. Lao Wei's store was a conscientious business, and the profit was lower than that of other black clinics. Besides, Rocky was just an assistant. Even though Lao Wei gave him a very high share, under the pressure of not low rent and high nutritional costs required for boxing training, it still took Rocky 2 years to earn enough money to open a clinic. Now these 30,000 euros are his last savings. At the same time, he still owes Lao Wei money for ordering prosthetics for him, so he must use the modules to realize a quick return on investment. Origin Project Cybernetic Integration Pack, this is good. 5 million, excuse me. How about buying them separately? 200,000 each, go away. Rocky kept looking through different modules, but most of them were ridiculously expensive, and the cheap ones were useless. However, hard work pays off, and Rocky soon found a module that interested him. Open black lens bracket. Titanfall stimulant mod close black lens bracket open black lens bracket. The stimulant in Titanfall can greatly increase the user's speed and recovery in a short period of time. It will cause harm to those with lower physical strength. Close black lens bracket open black lens bracket. Price modifier. World overhaul minus 10% close black lens bracket open black lens bracket item module. 900 euro 2 doses close black lens bracket open black lens bracket alchemy table recipe expansion. 9,000 euros. Requires alchemy table module close black lens bracket open black lens bracket technology development. 13,500 euros close black lens bracket. This is the most suitable and cheap module Rocky has seen so far. It is in line with real technology and has market demand. If the formula can be installed and expanded for mass production and sale, it should be able to make good profits. Download the basic production package and add the stimulant formula expansion, and you can still have nearly 10,000 euros left, which should be enough for the production cost of stimulants. What Rocky plans to download is the alchemy table recipe expansion module for stimulants. After installation, you can use the alchemy table to refine the item. As for the more expensive technological expansion, it is to adaptively install all the technologies of the item, thoroughly master the production technology of the item without the need for production through an alchemy table, and realize large-scale mass production, but Rocky does not have the factory and cost to achieve large-scale mass production now. The current situation of formula expansion is completely sufficient. Although the output is low, it is relatively safe. Small-scale sales are less likely to attract the attention of companies, and Rocky does not want to be targeted by big companies before he has absolute strength. Rocky first spent 900 euros to buy 2 doses of stimulant modules. Feeling the real touch in his hands and the green stimulant in front of him, Rocky finally confirmed the authenticity of the system. After pressing the mechanism on the stimulant bottle, Rocky inserted the ejected needle directly into his shoulder. The stimulant in the bottle was completely injected into the body in an instant and flowed into Rocky's whole body in an instant. A feeling of lightness enveloped Rocky. He tried running and jumping, and found that his overall speed increased by nearly 50%. At the same time, the body is constantly bursting with vitality under the influence of stimulants, and the injuries left by Lao Wei's heavy punch not long ago are recovering rapidly. The effect of the stimulant lasted for half a minute. Rocky felt his body after the effect ended and found that he did not feel any discomfort, and his injuries were healed. So strong. Rocky was deeply shocked. Although the time was not long, this level of enhancement could be said to be extremely powerful. Just when Rocky was still immersed in the shock brought by the stimulants, a phone call suddenly came in. "Jack, what's going on?" After calming down, Rocky answered the phone. The caller was none other than our famous V's good friend, the real big shot in Night City, Jack. Jack is Victor's old friend. He comes to Victor for his prosthetics and medical treatments, and often comes to the store. Rocky has come into contact with him many times in the past 2 years, and naturally they have become friends. "Hey, L, are you free now? Come to Wild Wolf for a drink and talk about business," said Jack on the other end of the phone. "What business? I'm a bit busy right now. Your favorite is to beat up those kidney slicing gangs." "Okay, I'll be there soon." Rocky works as an assistant in Old Way's store during the day, and occasionally works as a free mercenary in Night City at night, taking on some jobs with Jack to earn some extra money. Rocky originally wanted to refuse this commission. After all, he was still busy studying the module system. But when he heard that he was going to work as a scavenger, Rocky said he couldn't refuse. What he hated most was these beasts, and this was a good opportunity to try out the actual effect of the stimulants. After calming down a little, Rocky turned off the system, went out, got on his motorcycle and headed for the Wild Wolf bar. Chapter 5 Cleaning Up Scavengers. Haywood. Rocky came to the Wild Wolf bar in the Valley area. The Wild Wolf bar is a bar opened and run by Jack's mother, Mrs. Wells. Jack grew up here and it is basically his second home. Entering the bar, the Wild Wolf bar is very lively at night. Some people come here to drink to relieve their sorrows, some people gather in 2s and 3s to chat, and of course, there are also the middlemen and mercenaries who reside in the bar discussing business. After walking through the hall, Rocky came to the bar counter. A bearded bartender, Peppy, the bartender, came to him. "Hey, L, long time no see what you want to order." "Same old, I'm here to see Jack." "Then you go up first. I'll have someone bring the wine up to you later." "Thank you." Rocky came to the private room on the second floor where he had made an appointment with Jack. When he opened the door, he saw Jack drinking with his legs on the table. He was wearing a black leather jacket on his sturdy figure, and his short black hair was tied into a small knot. The several shiny gold necklaces around his neck and the gold earrings on his ears made it hard not to suspect his relationship with the Valentino gang. "Jack, L, you're here, sit down first." Jack motioned Rocky to sit down and handed him a chip. "This is the commission information, please take a look first." Rocky took the chip and put it into the chip slot of his personal system, and the contents of the chip popped up in front of him. Lee Scenic Area, a small scavenger den. Yes, the Valentino gang had a conflict with the 6th Street gang not long ago, and many gang members died as a result. The body of one of the members who was carrying a high-value prosthetic was stolen by this group of scavengers. Our mission is to recover the lost prosthetics of the Valentino gang. Rocky nodded. The information on the chip indicated that the scavenger group was small, with at most 4 or 5 people, and was not very dangerous. Just the two of us? No, the priest introduced us to a hacker, a temporary one, named Hellas. He is said to be a newcomer, but to be honest, sometimes it is easier to get things done with a hacker. When will we act? Finish this drink and leave. The waiter brought the wine at the right time. Rocky took it and clinked glasses with Jack. After drinking and leaving the bar, the two rode a motorcycle to the lodging area. Downstairs of an apartment building, Rocky and his companion parked the car, and at this time the remote assisting hacker also connected to their network. Their base is in room 607 on the 6th floor. I have marked the exact location on your map. The hacker's somewhat immature voice came from the communication channel. Receive. Looking at the location marked on the map, Rocky took out a pistol from his waistband and started to work. The two took the elevator to the floor where the scavenger's hideout was located and came to the door of the scavenger's stronghold. Wait a minute, I'm trying to hack into their network. Through the extension of Rocky and Jack's subnet, hackers can achieve remote hacking assistance. There were no cameras in the house, so I couldn't see what was going on inside. But I was able to connect to their network using their network equipment. There are only 4 scavengers in total. Note that when you enter the door, you will be facing an operating room that is in use and has 3 scavengers inside. The remaining scavenger is in a room further inside. The exact location is shown on your map. Be prepared to break through. After waiting for a long time, the hacker finally gave feedback. Looking at the structural map analysis in the system and the highlighted enemy positions, Jack on the side couldn't help but praise. Good job, brother, your skills are really good. This job is much easier with your help. Hellas on the other end of the line was a little embarrassed when he heard Jack's praise and said, these are all basics. I'm actually not very proficient in them. I can see that, Rocky said lightly. You have to be more tolerant of newcomers. It's okay, Hellas. We all got through this. You have to have confidence in yourself. You played a big role in this mission. We will take care of you, don't you agree? As Jack spoke, he gently touched Rocky, indicating that Rocky should respond. Jack is always friendly to newcomers, especially Hellas, who was introduced by the priest and was a native of Haywood, so he would naturally take care of him. Rocky was obviously not so patient. He didn't care much about strangers and just wanted to get the task done quickly. Signaling Jack to get ready, Rocky and Jack leaned on both sides of the door, one on the left and one on the right. Bring it on. A few seconds later, as Hellas uploaded the cracking program to the apartment door system, the door opened. The 2 men rushed in quickly with guns raised, and saw 2 scavengers in the room, decomposing a corpse in front of the operating table, and there was a sleeping scavenger lying on the sofa nearby. The moment the door opened, the 2 scavengers reacted immediately, stopped their work and started to take out their tools. But it was obvious that their guns were still 1 meter away, and the scavenger who was supposed to be on guard was still asleep. As expected, the cleaners in this small den were unprofessional, and the outcome was doomed from the moment contact began. Rocky and Jack were on the left and right, with clear division of labor, and they poured bullets at the heads of the 2 scavengers. The 2 scavengers' heads were instantly pierced by the powerful impact of the bullets. At the moment of the gunshot, the sleeping scavenger was suddenly awakened, but when he opened his eyes, he was greeted by Rocky's fist. The cold iron fist continued to grow larger in his eyes, and before his head, which had just woken up, was fully awake, he was knocked unconscious by Rocky's punch. Rocky knocked the scavenger down with 1 punch and was about to shoot him through the head to complete the attack. As a result, the door inside was suddenly opened from the inside. A sturdy man holding a heavy fire machine gun started shooting wildly at the 2 men. The situation changed so quickly that Rocky and Jack quickly looked for cover, and bullets poured down on them in an instant. Fortunately, Rocky, who had been on guard, responded in time and successfully retreated to the bunker before most of the bullets fell. But his right shoulder was still grazed by the bullet. Although the damage was not serious, the intense pain still made Rocky angry. A damn son of a bitch scavenger is actually equipped with such a big thing. Are you okay? Jack cursed loudly from behind cover. The scavenger's fire suppression did not end, and Jack and Rocky were trapped behind the bunker and unable to take any action. "I'm fine. Hellas, find a way to restrain him." Jack gave orders to Hellas. "Uploading the quick cracking program for the artificial eye to restart, it will be ready soon." After receiving Jack's instructions, Hellas did not dare to delay and immediately began to try to invade the network of the scavenger. Chapter 6 Commission completed just a few seconds after Hellas took action. The quick cracking program was successfully uploaded, and the scavenger's vision instantly became dark. The scavenger, having lost his vision, had no way of carrying out accurate fire suppression and could only fire wildly in the direction he remembered. Jack, who was hiding behind the cover, was about to seize this opportunity to lean out and shoot, but he found that Rocky on the other side had already rushed out. Rocky was suddenly shot at by a machine gun and had to hide behind a small freezer, which made him very angry. Now that the scavenger's artificial eye had been restarted and the gun line had become messy and loose, Rocky would never miss this opportunity. Rocky quickly pulled out a needle of green stimulant from his belt and injected it directly into his body. A feeling of lightness spread throughout his body, and Rocky put away his pistol immediately. With the help of stimulants, his sensitive nerve reaction allowed him to seize the gap in the gun line. He quickly rushed out from the left, bypassed the scavenger's gun line, and approached the scavenger at a high speed along the wall. The scavenger, who had lost his vision at this time, had no way to react at all. Rocky came to the side of the scavenger at an extremely exaggerated speed and knocked the scavenger's weapon away with an Iron Mountain kick. The heavy machine gun flew out of his hand, and the scavenger, who realized that someone was approaching, was punched hard in the abdomen before he could react. The subcutaneous armor installed on his body was unable to protect him from the damage of this punch. The cold metal touch carried a powerful force that hit his stomach, causing his body to curl up involuntarily, and he almost vomited stomach acid. Rocky, who had succeeded in one punch, did not intend to let him go. He used his right hand full of explosive muscles and then a right hook to hit the scavenger's face. With the sound of some unknown bone breaking and teeth flying out, Rocky's left gorilla arm was working at full power and he gave him another uppercut. The punch hit the scavenger's chin directly, and with the sound of the jaw bone breaking, Rocky's fist continued to move forward, and the terrifying force lifted the scavenger's body into the air. The scavenger's artificial eyes finally restarted and his vision was restored. But he was no longer able to resist the continuous blows. The scavenger could only control his eyes and glance down at Rocky, but he saw the last scene of his life. Rocky twisted his waist and abdomen, tightened his legs, gathered power in his right fist behind his back, and all the muscles in his body were tensed like a tiger ready to pounce. The moment the sweeper's feet touched the ground, Rocky swung his right fist at high speed. Eat my deliberate punch. A professional boxer's powerful blow hit the already damaged head directly. In an instant, all the bones in the scavenger's head were broken and shattered, and the red and white mixture splashed everywhere. Under Rocky's combination of punches, the scavenger's body fell to the ground, deader than dead. It feels great. It feels so great. Looking at the scavenger lying down, Rocky breathed slightly and sighed. Jack, who was behind Rocky, was still behind the cover, holding his gun and aiming at the scavenger. Jack was dumbfounded when he saw Rocky go straight up and hit the scavenger in the face. Wouldn't the normal script be to shoot a few times first? Why did he just rush up and punch directly, and at such a fast speed? Damn, you're too aggressive. You just rushed right up to him. Jack could only complain helplessly. At this time, Rocky clenched his fists, feeling the state of his body. The stimulants made his body flexible and his movements agile and quick. At the same time, this kind of blessing is comprehensive. If you simply fight with a gun, it is not obvious, it is just an improvement in speed. But if he fights with his fists, the speed of his punches will be significantly improved, and the power of his punches will also be greatly improved. It is simply tailor-made for him. The scavengers have been dealt with, and no other enemies are shown on the network. The voice of Hellas came over the communication. Clean up the battlefield. Rocky and Jack began searching the house for the body. Hey, this guy is the one we are looking for. The scanner installed in Rocky's right eye scanned the corpse hanging on the wall of the operating room. The bloody body was a bit abstract, but it was still analyzed. The prosthetic parts on his body have not been removed yet. Jack felt a little headache looking at the bloody corpse, and was still wondering how to drag it back to report. It's okay, I'll do it. Rocky pushed the body on the operating table away and dragged the target onto the operating table. He picked up the surgical instruments skillfully and began to dismantle the prosthesis. Sorry, I almost forgot there's a cyborg doctor here. It seems I don't need to let the corpse dirty my motorcycle this time. Jack gave Rocky a thumbs up to show his affirmation. The equipment in Rocky's hands flew around, and he quickly completed the disassembly of the prosthetics throughout his body. A total of 6 prosthetics were installed, all of which were good stuff. It seemed that he was an important member of the Valentino gang. After handing the disassembled prosthesis to Jack, Rocky directly disassembled all the other corpses in the house, including the scavenger. It would be a waste not to take the prosthetic body. These things are actually unexpected gains from the commission. Besides, it just happened to be useful for his shop. He could take it back, repair and modify it, and then sell it to those gang members to make a lot of money. To decompose these scavengers is to give them a taste of their own medicine, and Rocky has no psychological burden about this. It's just a pity that the prosthetics on these scavengers are pitifully few and they're all rubbish. The cold scalpel kept cutting the scavengers' skin, and the scavengers who had been knocked unconscious by Rocky suddenly woke up from the pain. "Ah, what are you doing? Damn it!" The scavenger looked at the man in front of him as he continued to cut his flesh, the intense pain stimulating his nerves. He screamed wildly and tried to struggle, but his limbs had already been tied up by Rocky. "Hey, you're awake." "Nothing much, just doing what you normally do, taking out some prosthetics." Rocky glanced at the scavenger without changing his expression. As Rocky continued to move, the few prosthetic parts on the scavenger were quickly taken out. He had become unconscious from the pain and bleeding. Looking at the man in front of him, he felt a deep fear for the first time. He just didn't know if he would regret what he had done. Soon the scavenger closed his eyes forever under Rocky's ruthless torture. The last scene he saw was Rocky taking out a heart from his body and smiling at him. "Stop playing. The gunshots might have been heard. Someone might report it to the NCPD." Jack urged helplessly as he watched Rocky torture the scavenger with evil taste. "All right." He threw the heart in his hand away and took out the artificial eye installed by the scavenger. In order to let the scavenger see the dismantling process with his own eyes, Rocky thoughtfully kept his prosthetic eye and removed it last. After finishing the finishing work, the two left the scavenger's apartment and met the middleman who commissioned them, the priest, with the prosthesis to be delivered. Chapter 7 Rocky's clinic father, whose real name is Sebastian Ibarra. He is one of the most famous middlemen in the Haywood area of Night City. He has a background in the Valentino gang and maintains a good relationship with Jack. Many of Jack's commissions came from priests, and this time was no exception. "Hey, Jack, I didn't expect you to be so quick. You are indeed a trustworthy mercenary. And you, long time no see, how have you been recently?" Seeing the two of them coming, the priest greeted them warmly. "It's okay. We are planning to open a prosthetics clinic soon. The preparations are almost complete. Congratulations on having your own business. Where is your clinic?" "Japan Street." "That's a shame. If you came to Haywood, I would definitely recommend those guys to patronize your business. There's no shortage of business." "That's true." Rocky was greeting the priest. In the past 2 years, Rocky had taken on many commissions with Jack and was quite familiar with the priest. The priest admired the young man Rocky very much. After a brief exchange, the retrieved prosthesis was handed over to the priest, and the two also received the rewards for the commission. Rocky earned €2,000, of course mainly because he took away the other prosthetic bodies, and the bulk of the reward went to Jack. Rocky rode his motorcycle through the streets of Night City at night, intending to go home and have a good rest. At this time, an email was sent to his system. Open black lens bracket. "Dear Mr. L, your shop on Japan Street has been renovated according to your requirements. Please come and inspect it as soon as possible. You are welcome to choose the decoration team of Yeshi Company again." Close black lens bracket. "Oh, it's done so quickly. I'll go install the modules I need to install and then study the production of stimulants." After receiving the news that his clinic had been renovated, Rocky, who was still at the Civic Center, turned his car around and drove towards Japan Street at high speed. There were not many cars on the road in Night City late at night, and Rocky stepped on the accelerator and quickly arrived at the clinic. Rocky's new clinic is located opposite Turbo Restaurant on the first floor of H8, a super skyscraper on Japan Street. This restaurant is where Man's team often come to celebrate and relax after completing commissions in Edgewalker, and Luce's home is next to it. The space in front of the clinic is spacious and the night view is nice. Rocky is very satisfied with it. Finally, he doesn't have to see dirty and messy alleys when he goes out after get off work every day. Rocky actually gave a lot of consideration to why he decided to open a clinic in Japan Street. First of all, In order to avoid Lao Wei, he certainly would not open another clinic in Little Chinatown like Lao Wei. The distance between Japan Street and the Kabuki district in Watson District and his apartment is actually not that far. In comparison, Japan Street is more prosperous. Japan Street is not only a place where gang members are active, but also a place where the highly developed entertainment industry makes it frequented by free mercenaries in Night City. Rocky does business with these people. In comparison, although Haywood has the Valentino gang he is more familiar with, Japan Street always has its unique charm. Who doesn't want to walk a few steps to Twisting Street to have fun after get off work or go to Genting Highlands in a skyscraper to relax? So Rocky finally chose to open the clinic on Japan Street. I arrived at the clinic and opened the door after going through the authorization process. Looking at the store's brand new decoration, operating table storage cabinets, freezers, workbenches, and the boxing training area he specially prepared, Rocky's heartbeat quickened slightly. Phew, it feels so good to have my own clinic. Owning a clinic was Rocky's most desired goal for the past 2 years. Although his goal had to change with the arrival of the system, he couldn't help but feel happy when he saw the result of his hard work. After a quick inspection of the store, Rocky found that there were no problems. He debugged and familiarized himself with the equipment one by one. After cleaning and putting away the prosthetic body looted from the scavenger, Rocky opened the module store. Open black lens bracket. Download the basic production module integration package. Close black lens bracket. Account 10,000 euros. Select install. Open black lens bracket. Installation successful. Close black lens bracket. 5 different workbench devices appeared in the independent small room that Rocky vacated in the store, all of which were cyberpunk-style workbenches. Under the influence of world adaptive correction, the appearance of these devices has become completely different from those in my original world, only the core functions remain unchanged. After putting several devices in place, Rocky began to study the workbench used for synthesis and production. Start the system terminal on the workbench. It shows the recipes that can be made, but there are none. It seems that there is a reason for its cheapness. This workbench has only one synthesis rule, and all its original recipes have been removed, but this may not be a bad thing. After all, the original formula may not be of much use to Rocky, and being able to use it as a prerequisite for formula expansion is already very good. Then Rocky controlled the terminal to open the analysis function, which was an extension included in the integration package. A prosthesis was taken out and placed on the workbench, and the scanner on the workbench began to analyze it. Open black lens bracket. Synthetic lung lobe. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Model. Biotechnology type 1. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Durability 73%. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Introduction. Low-end synthetic lung lobes mass-produced by biotechnology. Transplanting them into the human body can increase the endurance recovery rate by 15%. Close black lens bracket. Looking at the content displayed on the terminal, Rocky thought for a moment. The more useful function of the analyzer is to display the durability of the item and detailed function description. I can only say that it is a little helpful to him, but it doesn't seem to be much. Then Rocky began to study the terminal of the alchemy table, only to see that there was no recipe on it either. Rocky opened the module mall system and downloaded the alchemy table expansion module of Titanfall stimulant. This time, the download button did not prompt that it needed to be installed first, and it was not grayed out. After spending 9,000 euros, Rocky successfully downloaded and installed the module. At this time, the alchemy table terminal shows that a new recipe is available. Click to check. The refining of stimulants requires a combination of 2 secondary semi-finished potions, and the recipes of the 2 secondary synthetic products are also in the alchemy table system. Fortunately, the materials needed for refining are all common materials, and the more troublesome compounds are all additives needed for the production of ordinary functional drinks and common ingredients of stimulant drugs on the market, and do not touch the core formula materials of any large companies. Rocky estimated that the cost of making a dose of stimulant was about 50 euros, and it took 3 minutes to make a bottle. The value of a dose of stimulant is about 500 euros. If Rocky distributes it for about 300 euros, he can make 250 euros for free. In this way, he can earn 5,000 euros an hour. Of course, this is just an ideal situation. First of all, he cannot produce stimulants 24 hours a day. The capacity of the workbench can only produce 20 bottles at a time, and he can only restart the operation after refining. The second most critical issue is the market. In order to avoid being discovered by companies, He can only distribute it to free mercenaries and gang members through black clinics in various places. In this way, small-scale sales plus not cheap prices will only lead to output efficiency far greater than production efficiency. So now what Rocky needs to consider is how to sell the stimulants quickly. After studying these, Rocky no longer had time to waste and could only make plans after the materials arrived. After sending an email to Lao Wei to tell him that the clinic had been renovated, Rocky packed up the shop and returned to his apartment to rest. Chapter 8. Opening of the clinic. The next day, Rocky called the supplier company early in the morning and ordered the raw materials needed for 100 stimulants for 5,000 euros. I rode my bike to the store, and not long after I entered, Lao Wei followed me in. "Not bad, your place looks much better than mine," Lao Wei commented as he looked around the store. "It's comfortable, but the rent is expensive," Rocky responded helplessly. Compared to the area in Little Chinatown, the shop rent in Japan Street was indeed much more expensive. In addition, the location chosen by Rocky was also a good location, so naturally he had to pay high rent. "Haha, isn't that how you are? No matter it's rent, food or entertainment. As long as it makes you happy, no matter how much it costs." Lao Wei laughed when he heard Rocky's complaints. "Hey, enjoy life while you can. That's the way it should be in Night City. Who knows how long you can live? You might die on the street one day. You know me, old V." Rocky has always believed in this principle since he came to Night City. Originally, he did not have a golden finger, and being a prosthetic doctor and occasionally taking on commissions was already the limit for him. Thinking that it would not be a wasted life to have a good time in this world of decadence and dissipation, the most important thing for Rocky is to do whatever makes him comfortable. "That's right," Lao Wei nodded in approval. In the past, he dreamed of becoming a legend in Night City every day, but now he has realized that a simple life is what he wants. Lao Wei brought all the prosthetics that he had ordered for Rocky and handed them over to Rocky. Rocky put them away and counted them in the store's terminal. Then Lao Wei brought in another cardboard box, which contained some lucky cats and some strange but beautiful ornaments. "Misty asked me to bring this to you. She told you to put it in the store for good luck." Looking at the box of ornaments, Rocky did not refuse Misty's kindness. "I appreciate her kindness. Please thank Misty for me." But what Rocky didn't expect was that Lao Wei brought out another box, and inside it was a box of trophies. Looking at Old Wei placing the golden trophies on the table, Rocky didn't know what to say for a moment. "I say, Lao Wei, why did you bring these things here? Didn't you say yesterday that you wanted to put it in the new clinic?" "I brought it here for you." Rocky scratched his hair awkwardly, and the metal fingers rubbed against his scalp, making a rustling sound. "I was just kidding, and I didn't even beat you." He did say this yesterday, but it was just a joke. After all, those were won by Lao Wei himself, so there was no way he could put them in the store, but Lao Wei didn't think so. He smiled and shook his head. "You were distracted yesterday. You already have the ability to beat me. I know that very well. I taught you. I watched you grow from a skinny guy who knew nothing to what you are now. I am very happy. There is nothing worth reminiscing about these things. It is okay for you to have them here. Jack, who was taught by me before, defeated me. Now you are considered as my apprentice. I will consider these as gifts for you." Looking at Lao Wei's smiling and slightly proud expression, Rocky knew he couldn't refuse. As Lao Wei said, he taught him so much, and it can be said that everything he has now was given by Lao Wei. Rocky is not a cheesy person, nor does he want to say too many sentimental words. He can only silently promise in his heart that he will repay Lao Wei in the future. "Thanks, Lao Wei. Okay, go ahead and get busy. I have an appointment. I'm leaving now. Don't forget me when you become rich. And remember to come and box next week." Lao Wei waved his hand and turned to walk towards the door. "Old Wei." Watching Lao Wei's back getting farther and farther away, Rocky suddenly called him. Lao Wei turned his head with some confusion. Rocky now really wants to tell him that he will become a true legend one day, standing at the top of Night City, at the top of the world, and will not let him down, but Rocky hesitated and couldn't say it out loud. He decided to wait until he actually did it. Nothing. Looking at Rocky's hesitant expression, Lao Wei didn't care. If Rocky didn't say anything, it meant he didn't want to say it, so there was no need to ask further. "I'm leaving." This time Lao Wei really left. Rocky carefully placed the trophy left by Old Wei on the shelf next to the boxing equipment in the store. He left behind a pair of gold boxing gloves and several of the biggest trophies on the clinic's workbench, where he and the customers who came into the store could clearly see them. Putting a sign saying, "Open," in front of the clinic, Rocky began waiting for customers to come. However, naturally no one would visit an underground clinic without any publicity. Rocky didn't care and started studying the distribution of prosthetic clinics in Night City. Until the evening, Rocky had not waited for the first customer on the first day of opening. Seeing that it was getting late, Rocky simply stopped researching. Rocky opened the contact list and called Wakako Okada. The call was quickly connected, and the person on the other end spoke in a gentle and unhurried tone. "It's L. Come to think of it, this is the first time you've contacted me. Tell me, what's the matter?" Wakako Okada is one of the top middlemen in the Westbrook area and has deep ties to gangs in the area. Rocky had come into contact with Jack many times when he was doing commissions with him, and naturally left his contact information. However, this was the first time he took the initiative to contact Wakako. Usually, when there was a commission, Wakako would contact Jack, and Jack would then contact Rocky. "It's like this. I opened a prosthetics clinic on Japan Street. It's not very well known since it just opened. I thought you have a big influence here, so I wanted to ask you to help introduce it more," Rocky explained. As an underground clinic, having no reputation when it first opened was indeed a headache, so Rocky could only seek help from the local boss Wakako in Japan Street and ask him to help introduce some customers. As long as someone comes and can make you famous, it will be much easier to accumulate knowledge later on. "So that's how it is. Let me guess, is your clinic located under a skyscraper?" Wakako smiled on the other end of the phone. "Yes, I was saying, those guys told me that there seemed to be a new clinic opened under the skyscraper, but I didn't expect it was opened by you. Don't worry, I will tell them to patronize you more often. I trust your craftsmanship and character, and I feel safe letting them go to you, and it won't ruin my reputation." Hearing Wakako's promise, Rocky couldn't help but smile. In this way, the problem of customer source was preliminarily solved. "Thank you very much. Don't worry, I will give them a 10% discount as long as they are introduced by you." "Haha, that's all. I wish you a prosperous business. Remember to come to me more often to take on commissions when you have time." "Good." After hanging up the call, Rocky continued to wait for his guests. Rocky had planned this phone call a long time ago. If he wanted to start a business, besides having strong skills, he also needed some background, especially for an underground business that could not be promoted normally. And shortly after talking to Wakako, another call came in. The raw materials ordered by Rocky have arrived. Chapter 9 Customers visit. After moving the raw materials into the store, Rocky could finally start refining the stimulants. Place the ingredients needed to make 20 stimulant minor potions on the alchemy table. After selecting the refining formula, 20 minutes later, 20 bottles of potions mainly used to provide acceleration capabilities were refined. Then Rocky refined another 20 potions that mainly provided restorative power. Put 2 different secondary potions into the alchemy table, and then add the final fusion materials. After another 20 minutes, 20 doses of stimulants were finally refined. Take out the container containing the stimulants and place it on the synthesis workbench. The functions analyzed by the scanner are consistent with the description, so there should be no problem. Switch the workbench to synthesis mode, put in metal and glass materials, and as the workbench operates, 20 tubes of stimulant potions are synthesized. Take out the laser engraver and mark the medicine tubes one by one. Open black lens bracket. Manufactured by Feixiong Technology. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Dynamic stimulant type 1. Close black lens bracket. Pour the stimulant into the syringe and seal it. The green liquid flows quietly in the tube. Rocky's first batch of stimulants was thus prepared. Put the prepared medicine away. Rocky was still thinking about how to sell these medicines when a new visitor application came to the clinic. Rocky saw 2 visitors through the surveillance camera installed at the door. The large Asian-style tattoos on their bodies and the samurai swords they carry make it easy to guess that they are members of the Tiger Claw gang. It was most likely recommended by Wakako. Rocky approved their visitor application and the clinic door was opened. The bionic skin of the prosthetic arm on the right hand of one of the people was damaged, revealing the metal shape inside. The internal prosthesis was also severely damaged, and even the mantis blade inside was exposed to the air. It looks like the prosthesis was damaged by being hit by a high-intensity weapon. The right side of his abdomen was obviously seriously injured, and he was covering it with something, but it was not able to completely stop the bleeding. A few drops of blood flowed through his fingers and dripped onto the clean floor of the clinic. the other person was much better and didn't look injured at all. It was obvious that he came with the injured person, but it was normal. No one would go to a strange black clinic for treatment alone with injuries. Especially for those of them who had prosthetics. They might be sold to scavengers by the prosthetic doctor and disassembled. So generally speaking, whether it is gang members or freelance mercenaries, they all have their own trusted prosthetic doctors. And if they want to go to a new prosthetic doctor, they will at least bring a trusted person to watch over them. Asking the wounded to lie on the operating table, Rocky injected a strong hemostatic agent near his wound. "Wakako introduced you here?" Rocky asked. The person accompanying him nodded and said, "Hey, I was injured nearby, and I came here because Wakako said there's a trustworthy clinic here." Seeing Rocky's youthful appearance, the Tiger Claw gang member had some doubts about his ability. But after all, it was Wakako who recommended him, so he couldn't say anything. And as soon as he entered the room, he saw the boxing trophy on the table. He had some idea of the value of these things, so he could only see if his skills were really good enough. If he found that he was not good enough, it would not be too late to challenge him later. After a quick check of the mantis blade prosthesis on the injured person's right arm, it was discovered that although it was broken, the damage was not too serious and could be repaired. "The prosthetic arm is damaged. Should we repair it or replace it directly? How much will the repairs cost?" 2,000 euros, plus the surgery and medical expenses, a total of 4,000 euros. "You were recommended by Wakako, so I'll charge you 3,600 euros. After hearing Rocky's offer, the injured man nodded. It was indeed a normal price, not a rip-off. Plus the 10% discount, it was 100 or 200 euros cheaper than the clinic he usually went to. "Then let's do it this way. Okay, I'll treat you first." Rocky took out his equipment and skillfully removed the damaged prosthetic arm on his right hand and put it aside. Then he took out an anesthetic needle and gave him a local anesthesia. He took out the 2 bullets from the wound, disinfected it, stopped the bleeding, and sutured it. After 2 years of study, Rocky's medical skills have reached perfection, and this simple medical operation can be easily performed by him. The injured person's wound was treated in a short while, and finally bandaged. Then Rocky came to the workbench, took out tools and parts and prepared to repair the prosthesis. A prosthetic doctor is essentially a combination of a surgeon and a technician, and can even work as a tattoo artist on the side. As a qualified prosthetics doctor, Rocky's services naturally include repairing prosthetics. After removing the bionic skin of the prosthesis, revealing the mechanical prosthesis inside, Rocky picked up the tools and prepared to repair the prosthesis, but at this moment he suddenly remembered that he had forgotten something. "I almost forgot I still have that thing." Rocky slapped his forehead. "It will take some time to repair the prosthesis, but not too long. Just wait a moment." After instructing the person accompanying him to look after the wounded, Rocky picked up the damaged prosthetic arm and went into the room where the production equipment was located. The man standing in the store watched Rocky take the prosthesis into the room and then fell silent. He was full of doubts. Why did this guy go in with the prosthesis when he had all the tools ready to start repairing? Could it be that he wanted to swap their prostheses? What is this guy doing? He doesn't think we are fools, does he? If he really dares to try to be clever, I will let him know the consequences of angering the Tiger Claw gang. The man complained, but he could only wait for Rocky to take out the prosthesis. After all, it was just a suspicion and it was impossible to question it now. He had to give Wakako some face. The person lying on the operating table felt the condition of his body and recovered very well. He said, "No, Kazuko said he is trustworthy, and I feel his skills are really good, at least much better than my previous one." "Really? But having good skills doesn't mean you won't cheat people. Let's see." Rocky in the room did not realize the misunderstanding that his behavior might cause, and he came to the anvil where the production module was installed with the prosthesis. Put the damaged prosthesis on it, then put the metal material on it, and click repair. As the anvil worked, a brand new mantis blade prosthesis soon appeared before his eyes. Wow, this thing is so useful. What era is it still using traditional repairs? The cyber anvil has to be used for one-click repairs. The function of the anvil is to repair the durability of items. As long as you put the item to be repaired in the corresponding raw materials, the repair can be completed. That's great. This way, I don't even need to buy parts to repair my prosthetic body. It's basically free cost, but this one seems a little too new. After the anvil repair, the prosthesis now looks like a brand new one. Even the marks and scratches on the internal blade have disappeared. This would be a real headache, as normal maintenance would be impossible to achieve this level. Fortunately, the prosthesis is usually wrapped in bionic skin, so normally no one would notice the degree of wear and tear inside. Besides, it is not a bad thing to repair it, and it is also feasible to explain it if it is discovered. Rocky waited in the room for a reasonable amount of time before walking out with the prosthesis. Chapter 10 Power Stimulants Type 2. Hey, you have a prosthetic body, why are you sneaking around in there? Did you do something? Seeing Rocky coming out, the Tiger Claw gang member who accompanied him couldn't help but question. Generally speaking, few of the cyborg doctors in Night City's underground clinics are clean. If you are not a particularly familiar doctor, the best option is to be wary of him. But Rocky is obviously not among them, and he doesn't like being questioned. Glancing at the aggressive Tiger Claw gang members, Rocky said coldly, "First of all, you can question my skills, but you can't question my character. If it weren't for Wakako, I would have asked you to get out now. Of course, if by tampering you mean completely refurbishing the prosthesis, then I did do that." After saying that, Rocky ignored him and started installing the prosthesis. The man didn't expect Rocky to respond like this, and after hearing Rocky's reply, he didn't say anything else. It was just as he said, at least the prosthesis that Rocky took out looked brand new instead of being replaced with a worse second-hand one. As for whether other qualities have been replaced, we will know once the prosthesis is installed. The process of installing the prosthesis is not complicated. For a skilled prosthesis doctor, it is as simple as changing the SIM card in a mobile phone. Rocky completed the installation quickly. As the prosthesis was connected to the personal system, various parameters were read one by one, and it was confirmed that there was no problem with his original prosthesis. No problem, it is indeed my prosthesis. But why does it look so new? After feeling the new Mantis Blade prosthesis, the Tiger Claw gang member lying on the operating table couldn't help but wonder. Rocky calmly explained, "My store focuses on conscientious business. I will provide you with a full set of maintenance for free." After hearing Rocky's explanation, the customer immediately felt that this business trip was worthwhile. Not only was the price right but the service was also good. Then Rocky began to implant the bionic skin onto the prosthesis and repaired the damaged parts. So far, the whole operation was completed perfectly. Looking at the intact new prosthesis, the customer expressed great satisfaction. After receiving the transfer, Rocky escorted the two out of the store. "If you are satisfied, remember to call more people. We guarantee affordable prices and good service." Before the two left, Rocky did not forget to ask them to help advertise. After all, underground clinics have no way to advertise publicly, and relying on customers and local tyrants to spread the word is the best way to accumulate customers. It's finally open. After seeing the two off, the store returned to silence and Rocky came to the production area inside. Holding a bottle of finished potion, Rocky was thinking about how to sell it and how much to sell it for. Judging from the value, such a powerful effect should be worth more than 500 euros, and it is ideal for Rocky to sell it to the Black Clinic for more than 300 euros, but Rocky thought about it carefully and found that it was not the case. In his opinion, his main customers were mercenaries and gang members. First of all, the effect of Type 1 stimulants is good, but the introduction also clearly states that it will cause harm to people with lower physical strength. So far, Rocky has only conducted experiments on himself, but if the prosthesis is not counted, Rocky's current physical strength has exceeded more than 90% of gang members and freelance mercenaries. Stimulants have no effect on him, but it's hard to say for other people. Besides, these guys fight to make money. It is simply unrealistic to spend a lot of money to use consumables every time. At most, they will only buy a little for emergency use, which will have a huge impact on sales. However, if the price is simply lowered, it will become unreasonable and may even have a huge impact on the entire drug market. By then, those pharmaceutical companies will probably go crazy and try to dig it out. It would be perfect if the effect of the drug could be reduced a little bit. Rocky thought about it and decided to give it an experiment. After all, the stimulant is made of 2 secondary potions in a certain proportion and then added with fusion materials. The recipes on the alchemy table are just fixed presets, but you can customize the recipe ratios. You might be able to make potions with different effects. If this is really achievable, it will not only allow us to enter the market reasonably, but also ensure that the best technological drugs are firmly controlled by us, so that all the trump cards will not flow into the market. So Rocky began to experiment with different formula proportions of stimulants. Fortunately, there are still enough rocky materials, and there is also the help of the workbench analyzer. Open black lens bracket. Useless stimulants close black lens bracket open black lens bracket after the injection, the user feels very fast, but there is no actual effect close black lens bracket, open black lens bracket. Tainted potion close black lens bracket open black lens bracket unfortunately, drinking it will cause diarrhea, injection is not recommended close black lens bracket, open black lens bracket. Abnormal stimulants close black lens bracket open black lens bracket a strange potion born from a twisted refining formula. When injected into the human body, it will greatly increase the movement speed 80% in a short period of time, but it will cause the user to become overexcited and unable to stand the body stopping. It will also inhibit the body's self-healing. Repeated use will cause multiple organ failure. Close black lens bracket. Looking at the results of the workbench analysis interface, Rocky complained madly, "What the hell is this? It's all useless." Well, this one is still a bit useful. I'll write down the formula. After writing down the formula of this abnormal stimulant, Rocky continued to experiment with different formulas, but most of them were useless. Fortunately, hard work pays off. After Rocky's repeated trial and error, he finally found a suitable formula. Open black lens bracket. Weakened stimulant close black lens bracket open black lens bracket a weakened stimulant produced after formula adjustment, sacrificing self-healing ability in exchange for a longer duration and lower drug burden. After injection, the user's action speed is increased 35% for a certain period of time, lasting 60 seconds close black lens bracket. That's it, lower usage threshold and longer duration. Plus a good speed bonus, very practical. With Rocky's adjustment of the formula, the cost of this weakened version of the stimulant has now dropped to €30. Rocky plans to distribute it to black clinics across the country at a price of €150, and the final market price is expected to be around €200. In this way, it becomes acceptable for mercenaries to use one needle in each battle. After all, even shooting bullets costs money, and you can only make money if you are willing to spend. After finalizing the formula, Rocky used the remaining materials to produce 100 weakened stimulants and engraved labels on the bottles one by one. Open black lens bracket. Manufactured by Feixiong Technology close black lens bracket open black lens bracket power stimulant type 2 close black lens bracket after putting the medicine away and switching the sign at the door to resting, Rocky rode his bike back to the apartment to rest. Rocky slept particularly soundly that night. Overall, the first day of business was quite fruitful. Although there was only one customer, it was at least a good start. The doping program has also successfully entered the second stage and is ready to try to open up the market. Early the next morning, Rocky did not choose to open the business so early, but instead planned to sell the potion first. It is naturally not easy to form a cooperative relationship with black clinics, and a secret cooperative relationship at that. He took 30 bottles of medicine and divided them into 10 portions and sealed them. Rocky put on a hooded sweatshirt and a mask. Although the jammer in his prosthetic eye can prevent his face from being captured by surveillance cameras, it cannot prevent other people from seeing him, so wearing a mask is still very effective. Riding on his motorcycle, Rocky began to deliver goods in Night City. Chapter 11 First Order A's 10 bags of power stimulant type 2 were dropped at a hidden location near the target clinics. The cyborg doctors in the 10 clinics almost simultaneously received an email signed by Ascension Technology. Open black lens bracket. Feixiong Technology Cooperation Invitation close black lens bracket open black lens bracket sender. Feixiong Technology close black lens bracket open black lens bracket recipient. ****** Hello, this is Feixiong Technology. As an emerging pharmaceutical technology company, we are interested in selling our latest products in Night City. We sincerely invite you to become our sales agent. Samples of the products have been delivered to ***** near the clinic. We look forward to your experience and feedback. If you need to order and sell the products in the future, please send an email to place an order. Close black lens bracket open black lens bracket. Attachment. Product instructions for power stimulant type 2 close black lens bracket. Watson District. North City Industrial Zone. Inside an underground black clinic. The cyborg doctor looked at the email in the system and let out an unpleasant laugh. Ascension Technology, where did this thing come from? A company? Why would a company need to sell things to underground clinics like us? What's the point of talking so nicely? And it's so sneaky. In his opinion, if it is a legitimate company, there is no need to cooperate with clinics like theirs. They can sell through regular channels in the market. Even if the company wanted to expand underground sales channels, it would not have to act so covertly. It could just send employees to meet with them. Therefore, he has determined that the so-called Ascension Technology is an unknown underground workshop in Night City, which wants to make a fortune by relying on stolen formulas or potions made by second-rate pharmacists, or it may be a smuggling gang that wants to put smuggled potions on the market. However, although he scoffed at such shameless words, his body was still honest enough to click on the product description in the attachment. After all, no matter what the so-called Ascension Technology is, or what is said in the email, the key is that someone wants to invite him to make money together. Since there is an opportunity to make money, who cares what it is? You have to take a look at it first. If it is feasible, naturally no one will miss this opportunity. Open black lens bracket. Product name: Power Stimulant Type 2 Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. A combat stimulant developed by Ascend Technology. After being injected into the human body, it can comprehensively increase the user's action speed by 35%. It takes effect immediately, and the user is in an excited state, with improved thinking reaction, which lasts for 60 seconds. It is harmless and has no side effects. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Sample image. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Order price: €150. Dose. Close black lens bracket. Looking at the product manual, the prosthetic doctor thought for a while. If the efficacy is really as described in the manual, then the price of €150 per dose should be completely marketable. Most of the customers in his store are free mercenaries and gang members. These guys are very willing to spend money to improve their strength. Even the immunosuppressants they buy from him regularly represent a large expense. If you can spend more than €200 to get a good amplification effect on the battlefield, there should be many people who will pay for it. Let's take a look at the samples first. Deciding to verify the authenticity first, the prosthetic doctor found the delivery point of the stimulant samples based on the description in the email. Got a paper bag containing 3 stimulants. Looking at the green medicine in the syringe, it was the first time that the prosthetic doctor had seen such a stimulant. Maybe some underground chemist came up with it. Holding the stimulant, the cyborg doctor walked through the clinic's operating area and opened the door leading deep into the house. Walking into the door leading to the basement, I saw that the basement was very large and filled with various equipment and storage cabinets used by prosthetic doctors. In a room in the basement, there was also an operating table, on which lay a half-decomposed body. There was a living person tied up in the room, but he was unconscious. His body, without any prosthetic modifications, did not look like a hapless gang member. The cyborg doctor came to him and injected him with an unknown drug, and the unconscious man slowly woke up. The man looked at the cyborg doctor standing in front of him, fear showing on his face. "Who are you and what do you want to do? Let me go." Suddenly he saw the corpse lying on the operating table behind the cyborg doctor, and only then did he realize what had happened to him. At this moment, he was extremely annoyed and regretful. He shouldn't have gotten drunk in the bar. Now that he was caught by the scavenger, his fate was predictable. "It's a scavenger. Don't kill me, I beg you, I can give you money, please let me go." The man felt his hands and feet tied and pleaded frantically. But the cyborg doctor did not respond to him, but just laughed dryly with a hoarse throat. The cyborg doctor took out a green potion, grabbed his hair and pulled it, exposing his neck. The needle was inserted into his body and the medicine was instantly injected into his body. The man only felt a substance flowing throughout his body in an instant. His brain began to become excited, and his body had a desire to move. Just when he didn't know what he would face, the pseudo-doctor in front of him suddenly cut the ropes that bound him. Feeling the feeling of being restrained disappear, looking at the horrifying smile on the cyborg doctor's face, the man didn't dare to think too much. He pushed the cyborg doctor in front of him away and ran out. At this moment, he just wanted to escape, but his numb legs caused him to fall when he stood up, and his left hand happened to press on the corpse on the operating table. Without caring about the feeling of something wet he had grabbed, the man continued to stand up and run. The desire to survive made him recover quickly and he ignored the strangeness of his legs. Under the dual influence of stimulants and the desire to survive, the man burst out with an extremely outrageous speed, but in this basement, he had no idea where to run and could only run around like a headless fly. I finally found a door, but discovered that it couldn't be opened at all, so I had to keep running. But when he ran through the entire basement, he found that all the doors were sealed, and his signal could not be transmitted out, so he could not call the police. He leaned against the basement door in complete despair. Hearing the footsteps of the cyborg doctor approaching him little by little, he knew that he would die sooner or later. "I'm going to fight you, you bastard." The man couldn't bear it any longer. He stood up angrily and prepared to look for a useful weapon. He was determined to drag that bastard into the water with him even if he died. At this moment, the door behind him was opened from the outside. He looked back in surprise, thinking he had a chance to escape. However, he did not expect that what greeted him was even more terrible despair. A group of scavengers with their tools and carrying a corpse appeared in front of him and met him face to face. The leading scavenger was also very surprised to see that the person he had captured yesterday was alive and well here. Bang! With a gunshot, the man's head was pierced, and an expression of fear still remained on his face. How did this guy wake up and run out? The man who fired the gun put away his pistol and directed the scavenger behind him to dispose of the body quickly to prevent damage to the organs. "I released him to test the effect of the new medicine," explained the cyborg doctor. After hearing his explanation, the scavengers didn't care. As long as the person didn't run away, it didn't matter whether he was dead or alive. The cyborg doctor took a look at the man's body and nodded. "It seems that the effect of the stimulant is good. We can trade with them. Ascension technology, it's interesting." Leaving the basement and returning to the clinic, the cyborg doctor began editing an email and sent it to Ascension Technology. This scene also appeared in many underground clinics across Night City, and many cyborg doctors began to use their own methods to verify the authenticity of the medicine. Chapter 12. Man's Team. Japanese Street. Rocky's clinic. Rocky sat in front of the computer and looked at several incoming emails. The corners of his mouth couldn't help but rise. After a whole morning, 3 prosthetic clinics where Rocky had given samples had completed drug testing and sent order applications to Rocky. "I believe it won't be long before we can form cooperative relationships with most of the prosthetic clinics in Night City. After all, as the drugs slowly flow into the market, no one would refuse the opportunity to get a piece of the pie." After using the remaining savings to order another batch of raw materials, Rocky began to speed up the production of stimulants. The next day, an underground clinic in the northern industrial area. As soon as he opened his business, prosthetics Dr. Sydney received a request for visitors. "Who is it? You're here so early in the morning. It seems like there are no reservations at this time." With some doubts, Sydney opened the door of the clinic and saw a young man in a black jacket standing in front of him. "What's up?" Looking at the unfamiliar face in front of him, Sydney vaguely guessed the other party's intention, but still asked. Instead of answering his question, the man asked, "Are you Sydney?" "It's me." Sydney nodded. "Someone asked me to deliver something to you and asked you to pay 4,500 euros. Hearing Sydney's affirmative answer, the man took out a bag and placed it in front of Sydney. Seeing the bag in front of him, Sydney confirmed his guess. He took the thing from the man's hand, opened it and saw dozens of green potions lying quietly inside. "Who asked you to come?" Sydney asked curiously. "I am only responsible for the delivery. I know nothing else. Give me the money." The man's answer was within Sydney's expectations. From the way he was dressed, he knew he was a mercenary from Night City. They get paid to do the job, and even they themselves don't know who their employer is. If you want to know the intelligence, you probably have to find their middleman, but the mercenaries would not reveal the middleman's information to him. Obviously, the so-called Ascension Technology did not want them to find itself. Sydney had no intention of doing anything shady about the payment for the goods, and readily transferred the money into the man's account. Since the other party has hired mercenaries to deliver goods and collect payments, Sydney naturally does not want to experience the debt collection service of Night City mercenaries. He still knows the methods of these guys. After confirming that the payment had been received, the man turned around and left without saying any more words. He was in a hurry to deliver the next family. This man was none other than Rocky. After a day of fermentation yesterday, Rocky received orders from 7 clinics, most of which ordered about 20 to 30 stimulants, intending to try the effects first. After Rocky finished producing the stimulants, he chose to distribute them today. Originally, Rocky was planning to issue a commission and have someone deliver it, but then he thought that he didn't have anyone trustworthy to help, and although Jack was feasible, he didn't want to trouble Jack to do these simple things. Issuing a commission through a middleman is naturally a good choice, but it is obvious that the middlemen are not trustworthy. If the companies investigate and find the middleman, Rocky's secrets will definitely be ruthlessly exposed by them. It is simply unrealistic to expect them to keep secrets from large companies. With no other choice, Rocky had to deliver it himself. Fortunately, he already had the identity of a free mercenary in Night City. As long as he disguised himself well, the companies would not associate him with the manufacturer behind the scenes. The clinics that received orders were located in different places in Night City, and it took Rocky a long time to deliver all the goods. Fortunately, there were no obstacles in collecting the money, but it was a pity that Rocky couldn't use his expertise in debt collection. Rocky didn't return to the clinic until noon. Looking at the savings of nearly 30,000 yuan, Rocky was overjoyed. It has not been long since we have basically recovered our costs. I believe it won't be long before we can install more modules. After Rocky ordered another batch of raw materials from the supplier, he started his clinic business today. Today, the clinic has more and more customers. Under Wakako's care and with Rocky's craftsmanship recognized by customers, Rocky's clinic is slowly gaining fame in Japan Street. Time flies, and 3 days have passed since Rocky's first opening. In addition to the initial large batch of orders, Rocky received orders from several clinics, but they were not many. It will probably be some time before the second batch of orders arrives, and I guess those clinics won't be able to sell out the stimulants so quickly since they've just been launched on the market. Japan Street is very lively at night. This is especially true of the Turbo restaurant under the skyscraper. Many mobile vendors use the open space in front of the restaurant to sell drinks and food. There were several cars parked together in an open space, and a group of people were drinking and partying wildly. Most of them are free mercenaries in Night City, or they can be called cyberpunks. Man's team from the Edgewalkers were also among them. They had just completed a mission and were gathering here to celebrate. The dark-skinned muscular men Man and Dolio were arm in arm on the steps, chatting about something. The Gibbons Pila and Falco were mixed in the crowd, cheering for the performers. Hacker Chiwei was drinking by herself, but another hacker in the team, Lucy, did not appear here, perhaps because she did not participate in this mission. The cyberlily Rebecca in the team was also standing aside drinking a drink and watching the cheerful crowd. Why has that store changed? Rebecca didn't seem to be very interested in the performance. When she shifted her gaze, she suddenly found that a shop opposite the restaurant was different from the one she had been there before. In the past, the shop opposite would have closed at this time, but now it still has a sign saying it is open. Pira, what is that? Rebecca called her brother Pira and pointed her small finger at the shop opposite. What? How should I know? There's not even a sign. Maybe it's selling Harp and Mewtwo. Pira spoke in a nasty tone while expressing himself vividly with his flexible and long mechanical fingers. Get out. Seeing her brother being so shameless, Rebecca instantly went berserk. She gave Pira the middle finger and then stretched out her fleshy calf to kick Pira away. At this time, Chiwei, who was drinking nearby, was attracted by the two people's playfulness and looked in the direction Rebecca had just pointed. The artificial eye installed on Chiwei's body flashed a stream of data, and she quickly found the information about the store. It's a prosthetics clinic, opened 3 days ago. Chiwei quickly found the relevant information of the store through the internet. For an experienced hacker, these things can naturally be easily found. Man, who was originally flirting with Dolly, suddenly looked up at Chiwei after hearing her words. Chapter 13 Man and Rebecca Man was obviously more interested in the prosthetic clinic and stood up and looked in the direction of the clinic. Any more information? Man asked Chiwei. I don't have much information. I just know that most of the customers are from the Tiger Claw gang, and they seem to have a good reputation. I'll go and take a look. Man nodded and walked in the direction of the clinic. Man has always had an obsession with becoming stronger, even to the point of being a little pathological. He is still thinking about installing prosthetics on his body, but the suppliers he has been working with recently don't have any good prosthetics to offer. Man decided to go and take a look at the newly opened clinic. Maybe it would have what he wanted, so it wouldn't hurt to take a look. I'm going too. Rebecca raised her little hand to indicate that she wanted to go too. Chiwei expressed no interest in this. Then go ahead. After leaving a word, Chiwei turned around and went back to drinking. Dolio, who originally wanted to get up and go with Man, did not move after seeing Rebecca was going. It is enough for two people to go together. Anyway, they are nearby and can provide support in the first time if anything happens. Man and Rebecca walked side by side towards Rocky's clinic. The two men came to the door of the clinic, which was opened by someone at that moment, and a man with a lot of prosthetic parts walked out. The man glanced at the palm of his left hand, clenched it a few times in the air, and seemed very satisfied with his newly installed prosthetic grip. Suddenly a heavy hand was placed on the man's shoulder. Feeling the heavy pressure, the man looked up at the dark-skinned burly man wearing sunglasses in front of him. "What do you want?" The man who was stopped by a stranger sounded a little unhappy, but he didn't get angry directly. As a fellow cyberpunk from Night City, he wasn't afraid of this much taller guy in front of him. But there was no need to provoke a conflict directly. After all, he wasn't a cyber madman. Seeing the man's unhappy expression, man didn't care. He raised his other hand and slightly pushed down his sunglasses to expose his eyes. He looked at the man and smiled and said, "Don't be nervous. I just want to ask about this prosthetic clinic." The man's expression eased a lot when he learned that man was not here to cause trouble. "It's okay. Wakako introduced me here. If you are also cyberpunks, you should know her. The clinic is pretty good, but the prostheses they sell are a little more expensive than those sold at other black clinics. The installation skills and medical standards are both top-notch in Japan. It is said that the repair skills are also very good, but I have not experienced it." "Thank you." Man nodded after hearing the man's words. With such a good reputation after only 3 days of opening, it seems that this prosthetics clinic must be of some level. With this thought in mind, man pressed the clinic's visit application button. Rocky, who had just completed a prosthetic surgery in the store, received a visitor request before he had even finished cleaning up the place. Could it be that the customer just now was dissatisfied? Puzzled, Rocky checked the surveillance camera at the door, but he didn't expect that it was man who came. Although Rocky thought that if he opened a store here, he would most likely run into man and his group, he didn't expect them to come so soon. Rocky approved man's visitor application while quickly cleaning up the remaining traces of the operation. The clinic door was opened by man, and man and Rebecca walked into the store. "Welcome." Rocky looked in man's direction, and only then did he realize that Rebecca was standing next to man. The surveillance screen just now was basically occupied by man's huge body. The little Rebecca standing on the other side of the surveillance was completely blocked, causing Rocky to think that man was the only one who came. The cyber loli in front of him had light green hair tied in 2 ponytails, and her petite figure formed a sharp contrast with the tall, dark-skinned strong man next to her. She only wears black underwear under the loose black jacket, and the red artificial eye and pink tattoo miraculously do not destroy her cuteness as a loli. Instead, she perfectly combines cuteness with the beauty of cyber style. Looking at the little loli standing at the door, Rocky's heartbeat couldn't help but speed up slightly. Rocky has lived in the cyberpunk world for more than 2 years. Naturally, he has seen many beauties in cyberpunk, experienced them in super dreams, and also found sex dolls, but he has never met one that makes him feel this way. Perhaps the aesthetics of the cyberpunk world are not compatible with his system. In short, when the Rebecca Chan he had been thinking about in his previous life really stood in front of him, the mysterious system that had been dormant in his body for a long time seemed to finally be awakened. Rocky's mind was full of thoughts, but they did not affect his actions. "What do you need?" Rocky asked, looking at the leader man. Man looked around the store and said, "Let me see what prosthetics you have." "Hold on." After quickly cleaning up the operating environment, Rocky motioned for man to sit on the operating chair. "Connect your personal connection, and the system will analyze the installable prostheses in the store and show them to you, and you can choose for yourself." Man took the connection from Rocky, inserted it into the port behind his ear, and began browsing the clinic's inventory on the display screen on the operating table. Rocky on the side also began to check man's physical data. Projectile launchers, gorilla arms, leg prostheses, subcutaneous armor. Rocky looked at the prosthesis installed in man's body and frowned slightly. As a cyborg doctor, Rocky is very aware of the extent to which normal people can install prosthetics, and is also very aware of the limits of the human body and the horror of cyberpsychosis. This is also the reason why Rocky has only installed a cyber eye on his right eye, in addition to the prosthetic arm he was forced to install when he first traveled through time. Rocky doesn't think he is as special as David, nor does he think he is particularly talented, so Rocky is not willing to enhance himself by installing a large number of prosthetics. Instead, he chose to learn boxing from Lao Wei to build up his strength. Now he saw the prosthetics installed on man, although the number was not as much as that of the modified Madman Atom Hammer, nor as much as that of the Cybertron Madman V, and even not as much as that of the future David. But in the cyberpunk circle of Night City, this is already a terrifying number. In Rocky's opinion, people who install prosthetics of this level often end up becoming cybermaniacs. Man is already at his limit at this point. If he doesn't downgrade his prosthetics, it's only a matter of time before he turns into a cybermaniac. Continuing with the installation of the prosthesis would only speed up the process, leaving no room for turning back. While thinking, man beside him also finished browsing the list of prostheses. The prosthesis you have here is too weak. Don't you have anything better? After looking at the inventory of prosthetics in Rocky's store, man was obviously not very satisfied. Chapter 14 Week 1 Inch That's all there is, there's nothing better. Seeing that man was not satisfied with the prosthesis in his clinic, Rocky felt helpless. The prosthetics in Rocky's clinic all come from Lao Wei's suppliers, so the goods are naturally not as high-end as those from other black clinic supplier channels. After all, the probability of a high-strength prosthesis appearing from the body of a cyber madman is obviously much higher than the probability of it appearing on the regular market. In addition, the payment for the purchase of the prosthesis was paid by Lao Wei, so Rocky naturally would not buy expensive high-end prosthesis that can only meet the needs of a few people. However, Rocky's prosthetics are more than enough to satisfy the vast majority of cyberpunks and gang members. All I can say is that man's demands are too high, but this is not a bad thing for Rocky. If man really likes a certain prosthesis and wants to install it, Rocky really doesn't know how to persuade him. If you are not satisfied with the prosthesis in the store, you can bring your own prosthesis to the clinic for installation. At the same time, you can also get medical treatment, prosthetics modification and upgrade, and repair and update services in our store. Or purchase common medicines such as immunosuppressants, which are all good choices. Although the prosthesis cannot be sold, it is not the only service provided by Rocky Clinic. Man nodded. If the prosthetic doctor in front of him was really skilled, he could come to him if he needed a new prosthetic installed in the future. I'll come to you again if I need a prosthesis installed in the future. If you have a prosthesis that's good enough and strong enough, you can also contact me. I'll take it as long as it's suitable. Man said as he stood up from the operating chair. Although man has not had prosthesis installed in this clinic yet, he still has a good impression of it. The store is very clean and looks much more reliable than other underground prosthesis clinics. Okay, the request for the address book has been sent. Feel free to contact me if you have any needs. Rocky accepted the request to add the address book to man. Although Rocky wanted to remind man that he could no longer install the prosthesis, he finally chose to speak. After all, even Dolio and David failed to persuade man, and as an ordinary cyborg doctor, speaking would only arouse man's disgust. The address book application was approved, and a contact named man was added to Rocky's communication system. Dong dong. At this time, Rocky's left hand was knocked twice. Rocky turned his head curiously and saw Rebecca standing beside him. Hey, at least ask me what I want. I've been standing here for a long time. Oh, sorry, I thought you were just here with Mr. Man. Are you going to get the prosthetics installed, too? Rocky thought Rebecca was just here to help man look after the prosthetic doctor, but he didn't expect that he also had the idea of installing a prosthetic. In Rocky's impression, Rebecca only had prosthetic eyes and decorative cyber circuits installed. At this point in time, there should be no plan to install a gorilla arm. I'm not installing a prosthetic. I'm updating the program of the prosthetic eye, Rebecca said, pointing a finger at her eyes. As one of the most popular implants, prosthetic eyes can be equipped with a variety of vision enhancement programs and powerful scanners. These programs are constantly updated and evolved with the iteration of prosthetic eyes. Many low-end prosthetic eyes are also compatible with updated programs, so most people will update the prosthetic eye programs regularly. Rebecca took off her large coat and lay down on the operating chair. Rocky considerately adjusted the operating chair that had just been adjusted to suit man's size back to its normal shape so that Rebecca could lie down normally. Connecting the surgical terminal to Rebecca's system, Rocky began to read the data of Rebecca's artificial eye and analyze the compatible artificial eye program. Select the latest version of the updatable program, and then put all compatible and useful extensions into the installation list. The update project is displayed on the screen. Check if there are any problems. If not, start it. The view may be black for a while, but it will be fine soon. After showing Rebecca the project to be updated, Rocky restarted Rebecca's prosthetic eye after receiving a positive response and started updating the program. The update procedure was not complicated, and the artificial eye completed the update and restart quickly. With the successful startup of the artificial eye and the completion of resolution debugging, Rebecca's vision is clearer than before. At the same time, the performance of the analyzer has also been improved. I feel much better, thanks. Rebecca pulled out the port behind her ear and jumped up from the operating chair. Man, who was standing by, watched Rocky finish his work, pointed to a shelf in the store and asked Rocky, "What is that?" Rocky looked in the direction man pointed and saw dozens of green potions on the shelves. "That's a combat stimulant drug that we recently purchased. After injection, it can increase movement speed by 1/3 within 60 seconds. The price is €230 per piece, do you need it?" What man was referring to on the shelf was naturally the power stimulant type 2. As an underground clinic, it was natural for Rocky's clinic to sell stimulants, and he could make more money from selling each one. "Really?" Man raised his eyebrows slightly, seeming quite interested in the potion. "It has been tested and the effect is proven, and there are no side effects," Rocky said confidently. "Then please get me 10, and a month's supply of immunosuppressants. For a cyberpunk of man's level, this amount of money is nothing, and if these stimulants really work, they will be of great help in completing the mission." "Good." Rocky packed the power stimulants and immunosuppressants and handed them to Man. After receiving the transfer from Man and Rebecca, the business trip was successfully completed. Before the two left, Rocky sent a contact book request to Rebecca, and Rebecca gladly accepted it. After all, who would refuse a reliable prosthetic doctor? Lao Wei's clinic. Ping. As the sound of cans clinking rang out, Lao Wei and Rocky raised their heads and drank the energy drinks in their hands. Lao Wei flattened the empty can and threw it aside, then asked, "How was your week? Is business okay?" "It's okay. I've become quite famous in Japan Street. Wakako has helped me a lot." Rocky, who was standing by, also threw away the can like Lao Wei, picked up the towel hanging around his neck and wiped the sweat off his body again. At this time, a week had passed since Rocky's clinic opened. During this week, except for the initial delivery of stimulants, Rocky stayed in the clinic doing business. He even rejected Jack's commission, and the meeting with Man Rebecca was just an episode. Today is the day for the boxing match agreed upon with Lao Wei. Rocky specially closed his business early tonight and came to Lao Wei's clinic to accompany him in boxing. Chapter 15 Rocky's confession. Upon learning that Rocky was doing well in Japan Street, Lao Wei nodded with satisfaction and said, "This is how it works in our line of work. It is always difficult at the beginning, and it will be a lot easier if you have some friends who can help. But the key is to have strong enough skills, otherwise it's all just empty talk." Rocky picked up another bottle of energy drink, opened the cap and gulped it down to relieve the fatigue brought by the high-intensity confrontation. Hiccup. "Nice." Rocky made a satisfied sound. Then he said, "I don't know if you are praising me or yourself." "Haha, just think of it as having both. Isn't it worthy of praise to be able to train an excellent prosthetic doctor?" "That's right." Rocky nodded, agreeing with Lao Wei's point of view. Lao Wei and Rocky sat together and talked about various things in Night City, from the clinic in Night City, to boxing matches, to the company, to cyberpunks, and finally back to the prosthetic clinic. By the way, it seems that many prosthetic clinics have started selling a kind of stimulant recently. Do you know anything about it? The question asked by Lao Wei made Rocky raise his eyebrows. At that time, Lao Wei was not in the target clinic selected by Rocky. Of course, he wasn't afraid of Old Wei knowing his secret. If anyone in Night City was the most trustworthy, it would definitely be Old Wei and Jack. Rocky would rather believe that his Niu would betray him than believe that Lao Wei would sell him out. Rocky just hasn't figured out how to explain all this to Lao Wei. After spending 2 years with Lao Wei, it can be said that Lao Wei knows Rocky quite well. The origins of these things are definitely not so easy to explain, but Rocky also understood that he would have to confess sooner or later. He couldn't keep it a secret from Lao Wei forever, and he was unwilling to give up Lao Wei's talent. Rather than waiting until more and more things are brought out and it becomes increasingly difficult to explain, it is better to reveal the truth now. It can also pave the way for getting Lao Wei to help him do things in the future. After hesitating for a while, Rocky said, "Are you talking about Ascension Technologies' power stimulant type 2? "Yes, you know that thing. I tried to find out but couldn't find their supply channels at all." Lao Wei spread his hands to express his helplessness. "I do know that my clinic is selling it, too. As for the supply channel, to be honest, I am the one who produces that thing." Rocky's plain words brought great shock to Lao Wei. Lao Wei was stunned for a moment, put the drink into his mouth and paused for a long time, then put his hand down. "Are you sure you're not kidding? I didn't teach you this. I bought 2 and studied them. The ingredients of that thing don't look complicated, just like the functional drinks that are popular on the market. Logically, it should not achieve this effect at all. The strange thing is that it can fulfill the function of a stimulant and increase the speed of the user. If you really made this thing, I'm a little curious about how you did it. Just as Lao Wei said, the raw materials of stimulants are indeed very common. The effect they produce is a special ingredient that is completely dependent on the rules of the alchemy table. Lao Wei naturally had no way of discovering it with just a rough test. It can be said that except for the alchemy table in Rocky's hands, it is impossible to produce it by any other method. If you want to produce without the alchemy table, you must install the technical expansion of the stimulant module. Only in this way can stimulants truly form a complete set of rules and completely become a native product of the cyberpunk world. It's just that the production materials and costs would be completely different at that time, and at the current stage, there is no need for Rocky to achieve it. I'm not kidding. Rocky shook his head, paused and continued. Old Wei, I think I haven't told you about my life before I came to Night City. No, you never mentioned it in the past 2 years, so I didn't plan to ask. After all, everyone has their own past, and I can understand that. This was the first time Rocky mentioned his life experience. Even though Lao Wei respected Rocky and was able to suppress his curiosity, he couldn't help but put aside his mentality and prepare to listen carefully to Rocky's story. Rocky looked straight ahead with his eyes slightly dazed, as if he was recalling the past. Before coming to Night City, I lived in a place very far away from here, not in the country. The society there was not as corrupt as it is now, and the people there were not polluted by the turbid world. They were positive and full of vitality. They have always wanted to change this world ruled and oppressed by corporations, and they continue to work hard to achieve this goal. But unfortunately they can't do it. Only I am here, and only I carry their hopes. The changes happened too quickly. When I appeared in Night City half dead, I knew I could never go back. I was the only one left in the world who could realize their dreams. And just recently, I received the property they gave me, which was the crystallization of their thoughts over countless years and was filled with things that were enough to change the world. And I want to use these things to change the world. This is what I have to do. To be fair, what Rocky said was completely true and there was not a single lie in it. It's just that the people who hear it have different perspectives and think differently. For Lao Wei, he thought of Rocky's hometown in a distant country, where there was a group of people working hard to change the world. But in the end, due to some reasons, whether it was a company or a war, they were exterminated and destroyed. Only Loki escaped to Night City, taking the fruits of their wisdom to fulfill their unfulfilled wishes. But for Rocky, these words correspond to his experience of traveling through time and obtaining the system. Before traveling through time, everyone who has played Cyberpunk 2077 or watched Edgewalker doesn't want to change the corrupt world of Cyberpunk, and who doesn't want to change the ending of the tragic story. But Rocky came through and he can make it all happen. The things in the module system are all from various games, movies and TV shows in the previous life. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is the crystallization of their thoughts. This is all Rocky could say about the origins of these technologies. He didn't want to deceive Lao Wei, but he couldn't really tell him his most fundamental secret, so he could only rely on this method. Lao Wei's mind was full of thoughts, and he put his hand on Rocky's shoulder and patted him. I'm sorry to remind you of your sad past. It's nothing, it's all in the past. I'm actually quite satisfied with my current life. I've made new friends and I've gradually gotten used to this place. Rocky said in a relaxed tone that although traveling to Night City changed his life, it was not a bad thing for him. He has gradually fallen in love with this place, especially after the appearance of the Golden Finger. Chapter 16 Meet at the bar. So what are your plans for the future? Will these technologies bring you danger? Lao Wei showed some worry on his face. Maybe, that's why I choose to hide first. As for the plan, let's take it one step at a time. First, make money from the medicine. Only when you have capital can you be qualified to compete with those big companies. Are you sure you have thought it through? Companies are deeply rooted. It's not easy to take root and grow under their control. A person's ability is limited after all. Maybe you will die because of this. Corporations control the world, like a shadow hanging over our heads. Even a legend like Johnny Silverhand could only blow up the Arasaka Tower, but that was all. He could not damage its foundation at all. The Arasaka Tower standing tall in Night City is the best proof of this. Feeling Lao Wei's concern for him, Rocky smiled slightly. Don't worry, I won't die. And I'm not alone. I still have you here with me. You'll help me, right? Haha, kid, when you really need me, I will help you. But I am old now, and fighting and killing are not suitable for me. Hearing that Rocky was targeting him, Lao Wei smiled helplessly. But if Rocky really needed him, he would naturally not refuse. Victor was able to transform from a legendary boxer into a cyborg doctor, so he must have unique talents. Even giants like biotech companies have extended an olive branch to him, offering him generous conditions in the hope that he will join the company. It's just that Lao Wei was not willing to work for the company and just wanted to live a simple life, so he did not respond. If Lao Wei can join Rocky's team in the future and provide support for Rocky's technical research, it will be a powerful help. Rocky naturally doesn't want to let it go. I feel relieved when you say this. Come, and salute the bright future. Rocky and Lao Wei chatted a lot more over drinks. After his strength had almost recovered, Rocky said goodbye to Lao Wei. After leaving the clinic, Rocky took out a Type 1 stimulant on his way home. He threw it in his hand twice, then pressed out the needle and injected it directly into the body. Wow, this thing is really cool. Feeling his condition recovering rapidly, Rocky quickened his pace and walked towards the apartment. After returning to the apartment and taking a shower, Rocky sat in front of the computer terminal, checking the distribution and order information of the prosthetic clinic. At this time, most clinics have sent in their second batch of orders. This time there has been a significant increase both in the clinics that have ordered and in the quantity of orders. The transaction amount reached 200,000 euros, which was a very critical transaction for Rocky. After entering the clinic's location, the quantity of stimulants ordered, payment information, etc. into a chip, Rocky opened his address book and made a phone call. North City Industrial Zone, Long Beach, North. In an apartment, Rebecca had just finished taking a shower and was drying her hair with a towel. Different from her usual twin ponytail style, Rebecca's long hair is loose at this time, giving people a gentle and lovely feeling. Of course, this is just an illusion. Buzz. As the call reminder tone sounded in Rebecca's ears, Rebecca's attention was focused on the communication interface. Who's calling at this time? Is it that cyborg doctor? Why is he calling me? Rebecca was a little confused, but still answered the phone. Hello, is this the cyborg Dr. L from Japan Street? What can I do for you? Ms. Rebecca, are you free now? Would it be convenient for you to come to the Wild Wolf Bar in the Valley area? Rocky's voice came from the other end of the line. Huh, no way, I didn't expect that a gentle-looking cyborg doctor like you would like my type. But I think your dating skills are too poor. It is not a wise decision to go to a bar for the first time to date a girl. Or are you just one of those idiots who only think with their lower body? Rebecca used a series of moves in a teasing tone to silence Rocky on the other side. Hira, who was listening to music and concentrating on studying technology, suddenly felt as if someone was talking about her. She turned off the music and looked around. Rebecca, did you call me just now? No, go away. Oh. Hira scratched his head in confusion, but when he couldn't find the answer, he turned on the music and went back to his own business. Rocky on the other end of the phone was silent for a while, then spoke. Rebecca, you misunderstood. I just have a commission for you, and I want to invite you to the Wild Wolf Bar to discuss it in detail. You have a commission for me. Why me? Man is the captain of the team. You should go find him. Rebecca knew that she had misunderstood him, but she was still a little confused. I'm not too sure about the relationship between your team, but this commission is not complicated and doesn't require too many people. Well, okay, Wild Wolf Bar, right. I'll be there later. After thinking about it, Rebecca decided to go and see what the commission was. Rebecca is not a core figure in Man's team, and usually performs simpler tasks, such as bait, distraction, delaying time, etc. It can be said that based on the current situation, Rebecca is like a mascot in Man's team. Now, even Man's shotgun can blow her away due to the recoil. She is completely different from Rebecca in the future, who will spray bullets with a recoil 4 times greater than that of an ordinary shotgun. It was not until her brother and Midoriya died one after another that she changed and began to undergo prosthetic transformation. She took on the heavy responsibility of fighting in David's team and fought side by side with David. Now someone has commissioned her to do something on her own, and since she has nothing to do these few days, she naturally wants to earn some extra money. After drying her hair, tying it into 2 ponytails again, and putting on a black jacket, Rebecca started to head to the Wild Wolf Bar. And in the apartment on the other side, after hanging up the phone, Rocky couldn't help feeling a little headache. Although he had originally wanted to use the commission to get closer to Rebecca, he was still a little embarrassed to be mistaken for a pervert who asked girls out to the bar. Valley area. The Wolf Bar. In the private room on the 2nd floor, Rocky drank his drink, put his feet on the table, and waited for Rebecca to arrive. The door of the private room was pushed open. The the person who came was not Rebecca but Jack. I just got here and Peppy told me you were here. Why didn't you tell me? Jack sat next to Rocky and casually picked up a glass of wine on the table and gulped it down. Rocky didn't expect that Jack would come here too, but it was normal when he thought about it. Coming here was like going home for Jack. Rocky went to Wild Wolf tonight to discuss a commission with Rebecca, so naturally he did not inform Jack. Jack, I had an appointment with someone else today to discuss some business, so I didn't invite you. I'll treat you to a drink next time. I see. I was wondering why you would forget your brothers when you wanted to drink. Just then the door of the private room was pushed open again, and the person who came in was Rebecca. Chapter 17 A commission for Rebecca. Rebecca came to the Wild Wolf bar and after asking Peppy about Rocky's location, she was led to a private room by the waiter. The two people who were still talking in the private room stopped when they saw Rebecca. When Jack saw Rebecca coming, he immediately stood up with his hands on his thighs. In that case I won't bother you anymore. I'm leaving now. You guys can chat. Jack turned around, patted Rocky on the shoulder, winked at Rocky and gave him a look that said, I understand you. Jack said he didn't expect Rocky to like this type of thing, but he could understand it. Looking at Jack's eyes, Rocky was speechless and could only roll his eyes at Jack to express his helplessness. He was about to collapse at this moment. What were these people thinking about? Could they be normal? They were just discussing business. Have a nice chat, ladies and gentlemen. With Jack's blessing, Rebecca followed his men out of the room and walked in. Sit down, have something to drink. Soda, please. Rebecca sat down naturally at Rocky's gesture. I didn't expect that a prosthetic doctor could also work as a middleman. Tell me, what's the commission? Rocky did not explain that he was the employer. He asked the waiter to bring a drink ordered by Rebecca, and took out a data chip and handed it to Rebecca. The commission information is in there, take a look first. Rebecca took the chip and put it into the slot to read it, and the contents of the commission appeared in front of her one by one. So the commission is to deliver the goods. 10,000 euros is a reward. How generous. Yes, your task is to deliver the goods safely to these prosthetic clinics and then collect the corresponding payment. Rocky explained. This commission was not complicated, just delivering goods and collecting money. But it was not that easy. There are more than a dozen target clinics in Night City. Plus, there is a lot of cargo this time. If Rocky is asked to deliver it, it would not be possible to finish it in one trip. It might take a whole day. It would be better to ask someone to deliver it. Not only can it establish a connection with Rebecca, but it can also confuse those who want to investigate the source of the potion, killing two birds with one stone. As for the money spent on the commission, it is nothing compared to the money earned from a batch of orders. Besides, Rebecca didn't feel bad about paying the money, so Rocky gave a higher price than the normal commissions on the market. This commission is not that easy. If they are unwilling to pay, then it will depend on your means. Naturally they didn't dare to refuse when Rocky went to deliver the goods, but it was hard to say when it came to Rebecca. After all, the petite Rebecca didn't have that much deterrent power. Are you looking down on me? I'll take this commission and I promise I'll get you every penny. Rebecca took out a pink and green painted pistol, loaded it, waved it in front of Rocky, and gave him a confident smile. Looking at Rebecca's confident and lovely appearance, Rocky couldn't help but smile knowingly. As long as you are sure, it's fine. Happy cooperation. Rocky and Rebecca clinked their glasses, and their first collaboration commission was officially finalized at this moment. Tomorrow morning, come to the warehouse indicated in the chip. I will deliver the goods to you. Just try to finish it within one day. As for now, we can talk. What are you talking about? You, me, why? Rebecca was confused. I want to get to know you better. We will have many opportunities to cooperate in the future. I think we can be friends. Looking at Rocky's sincere eyes, Rebecca took a sip of her drink and said with a smile, friends. I thought you middlemen were only thinking about getting the mercenaries to obey orders. Hearing Rebecca's teasing, Rocky shook his head. I think you misunderstood. I'm not a middleman, but an employer. I don't know many mercenaries. I just ask people to help me do something. In my opinion, anyone who can help me is a friend. You're not the middleman, so you didn't even know me before. Then how dare you give me such an important commission? Are you crazy? Rebecca originally thought that Rocky was the middleman of Night City and had a certain understanding of her, so she chose to give the commission to her. But now it seems that this person is crazy enough to entrust me with such a huge amount of money after just meeting her once. Isn't she afraid that she will mess it up or run away with the commission and the payment? Maybe, but I'm always good at judging people. You give me a very reliable feeling. I believe you can do a good job. Is it reliable? Rebecca stared at Rocky. She was stunned for a moment when she saw his serious eyes. Even she couldn't help but be slightly distracted when someone suddenly said this to her. But she quickly came to her senses and smiled at Rocky to reassure him. Okay, since you said so, I will help you handle the commission. Although it is hard to believe that there is anyone in Night City who would really trust a stranger, it is always a happy thing to be trusted by others. She now felt that the man in front of her seemed a little different from the others, which made her very curious about what kind of person he was. At least he was definitely more interesting than those middlemen who only knew how to put on a sour face. I feel relieved when you say that. By the way, I have another request. The source of the commission must not be known to anyone except you, including your team members. Rocky thought for a moment and said, "What kind of strange request is this?" Rebecca looked at Rocky in confusion. Staring at by Rebecca's cute yet puzzled big eyes, Rocky explained. I have to protect myself. There's a saying that goes, the only person you can trust in Night City is yourself. If you're betrayed, you can only blame yourself. Rocky remembered the classic lines in Edgewalker. In this magical city, no one can guarantee how well they understand others, nor can they guarantee that they will not be betrayed. As for man's team, only Rebecca, whose loyalty attribute is fully maximized, can make him feel more at ease. As long as he can pull her into his camp, Rocky believes that she will not betray herself and will become a powerful assistant to his men. As for the others, Rocky couldn't guarantee anything, especially since there was Chiwei, a time bomb, in man's team. Then why do you still choose to trust me? Aren't you afraid that I will betray you? You are an exception, and I can't give up this business just because I don't trust others. Besides, trust must be built step by step. As the saying goes, sincerity for sincerity. Rocky explained while gesturing. For a moment he felt that he was a bit like Jack, speaking in a very different way. It seemed that he had been infected by him after being with him for so long. But then again, it was indeed much easier to make friends like him. Looking at this strange guy in front of her who was obviously very suspicious of others but inexplicably trusted her, Rebecca smiled helplessly and said, "Okay, I promise you, strange guy. Come on, cheers, to friendship." Rocky raised his glass. "Cheers to friendship. So we are friends. Is it so casual to make friends nowadays?" Rebecca complained as she drank the drink in her hand. "It's all so casual. The guy who just left taught me. It's called fate. Well, more friends seems like a good idea." Chapter 18 Encountering the Whirlpool Gang. After finishing their negotiation, Rocky and Rebecca stood up and walked out of the bar. When he passed by the second floor, he ran into Jack drinking. Seeing the two of them leaving side by side, he secretly gave Rocky a thumbs up. Arrived at the door of the bar. The streets of Night City were very empty at this time, with almost no pedestrians passing by. Only the bar behind me added a lot of vitality to the silence of the night. "Rebecca, did you drive here?" "No." Rebecca shook her head. She didn't have her own car, but Falco would usually pick her up when she went out on missions, so she didn't have much need for it. Tonight was a special case. "Then I'll take you home." "Where do you live?" "Thank you. My home is in North Long Beach." Rebecca did not refuse. After all, it would be inconvenient to go back home at night without a car. "I live in Little Chinatown, so it's just about on the way." Rocky called his motorcycle over through the vehicle connection, sat on it and patted the seat behind him to signal Rebecca to get on. Rebecca looked at Rocky in shock for a moment. She didn't expect that Rocky was driving a motorcycle, but she soon stopped hesitating and sat on it confidently. "Hold on tight." As the engine started and the car speed increased, Rebecca's small hands rested on both sides of Rocky's waist. Rebecca clearly felt the muscles hidden under Rocky's clothes, which were nothing like those of an ordinary cyborg doctor. Rocky was driving very fast and the wind was whistling around him. Rebecca sat up straight and leaned forward, moving her head to the right back of Rocky's head and trying to get her mouth close to Rocky's ear, and spoke to him. "I never thought that a prosthetic doctor like you could be so strong. I usually exercise every day. Besides, if you do this kind of underground business, you must be able to protect yourself." "That's true." Rocky drove Rebecca slowly through Night City. Rebecca did not move back after she leaned forward to talk to Rocky. At this time, Rocky was concentrating on driving and didn't notice that a pair of cute big eyes were staring at him. Rebecca stared at Rocky's profile for a long time. This was the first time she observed this man so closely. Looking at his focused expression, Rebecca found that apart from being a little strange, he was pretty good in other aspects, especially towards her. Rebecca's petite figure also caused her a lot of trouble, especially those arrogant middlemen and frivolous mercenaries who often looked down on and teased her. Even the security guards in the bar would often stop her. But Rocky did not look down on her because of this. Instead, he trusted her very much. Rebecca felt warm in her heart and had a feeling of being affirmed. Looking at it this way, he seems to be pretty good, Rebecca thought. Rocky's car has good performance, and with Rocky's skilled driving skills, he quickly took Rebecca across most of Night City and returned to the northern industrial area. On the main road leading to Long Beach North, Rocky, who was concentrating on driving, soon discovered something was wrong. Rocky's right eye keenly noticed the abnormality in the road conditions ahead. After adjusting the vision of the prosthetic eye, he saw that the road ahead was blocked by several cars. 7 or 8 gang members were standing on the road, with obvious prosthetic modifications on their bodies, revealing their identities as members of the Whirlpool Gang. The Vortex Gang is entrenched in the industrial zone in the north of the city. They are crazy about the transformation of prosthetics and dare to put any kind of prosthetics on their bodies. It can be said that this is a complete reserve army of cyber psychopaths, and I don't know what kind of team building these lunatics are doing at the moment. Rebecca. Rocky slowed down the car and called Rebecca. What's wrong? There are members of the Uzumaki gang blocking the road ahead. Ha! After hearing Rocky's words, Rebecca put her hands on Rocky's shoulders, propped herself up slightly, and leaned her head to look forward. It was indeed as Rocky said, there was a group of crazy people from the Vortex gang gathered ahead. These guys are not easy to deal with. What are you going to do? Looking at the gang members in front of her, Rebecca knew that these lunatics were not easy to deal with. Maybe if man came, she could fight these guys head on, but she couldn't do it, at least not now. What to do? Rush over, of course. Sit tight. Rocky stared at the Vortex gang in front of him with a sunny smile. He turned the throttle of the motorcycle to the bottom with his right hand and rushed towards them at full horsepower. The sudden increase in car speed caught Rebecca off guard. She leaned back and almost lost her grip. Hey, are you crazy? Why don't you take a detour? Rebecca hugged Rocky's waist to steady her body and shouted at Rocky. She never expected that Rocky would choose to rush forward directly. What's the difference between this and seeking death? No need to take a detour, trust me, Rebecca. Rocky looked at the members of the Vortex gang in front of him. To be honest, he didn't like these guys. They were pure lunatics, and as disgusting as the scavengers. Since you have encountered a dog blocking the road, just get rid of it. Believe you. Okay, you crazy guy. Rebecca remembered what Rocky said, that sincerity should be rewarded with sincerity. If that was the case, she might as well believe him this time. She was already in the car and couldn't jump out, so she might as well go crazy with him. Watching the Vortex gang convoy approaching, Rebecca took out her pistol, prepared for battle, and wrapped her arms around Rocky, pressing her body tightly against him to keep herself stable. Feeling the touch of his back, Rocky's smile became brighter. At the same time, his consciousness controlled the interface in the system and installed a module. The members of the Whirlpool gang in front also noticed the 2 men at this time, and the roar of the motorcycle amplified in their ears. Ha ha ha, the prey has arrived, and the dismemberment party has begun. I want to install his eyes and use his eyes to watch him being torn into pieces, hehehehe. They looked at the approaching Rocky excitedly, their crazy eyes revealing desire, as if Rocky was already the fish on their chopping board. But what they didn't expect was that the oncoming motorcycle neither stopped and turned around nor took a detour, but rushed straight towards them. What does this guy want to do? Seeing the motorcycle not slowing down at all the members of the Vortex gang were unable to react. They could not imagine that someone would dare to rush straight towards them. Rocky, moving at full speed, soon arrived in front of them and rushed towards the gap between the vehicles. Before a gang member could react, his head was grabbed by an iron hand. The palm of the hand continued to expand in front of his eyes, occupying his entire field of vision, and it grabbed him with terrifying speed. At the terrifying speed, the powerful fingers even sank directly into his bones. Rocky grabbed the unfortunate guy as if he were a doll and took him to experience the joy of flying at 180 miles per hour in the flesh. With a flick of his left hand, Rocky accelerated the unlucky guy forward again and threw him directly onto a pillar on the side of the road. The head that hit the pillar at such a terrifying speed suddenly exploded like a fragile tofu pudding, and the scarlet blood mixed with brain matter was engraved on the concave pillar like a blooming flower. Chapter 19. Fierce Battle. Rocky, who had taken care of a gang member, shook his left hand to make sure there was nothing wrong with his arm. It was too difficult to catch someone at such a high speed. The strong resistance made his shoulder hurt, and he almost thought that his prosthetic arm was going to fall off. Fortunately, Rocky was injected with a dose of stimulant at the beginning, and now the discomfort is gradually recovering under the influence of the medicine. At this time, the members of the Whirlpool gang also came to their senses. Realizing that they were provoked, they instantly became furious and were about to get in the car to chase this bold guy. But Rocky had left them gifts when he passed by. 2 round grenades rolled down where Rocky had just passed by, and suddenly exploded after a flash of red light. The powerful impact instantly blew away the 2 cars next to the explosion. Several members were also knocked to the ground by the explosion. "Fuck it, I'm going to kill this beast. Kill him." The others who were not affected by the explosion screamed madly and got into the car. The car started instantly, the accelerator was pressed to the bottom, and it suddenly chased after Rocky. Rocky heard the roar of an engine behind him. Looking back, he saw the members of the Whirlpool gang chasing him in their cars. There were 2 members on motorcycles leading the way. Looking at the approaching vehicle, Rocky showed a sunny smile on his face and took out a cylindrical grenade. After pressing the safety, the outer shell of the cylinder stretches and becomes longer, and a little flame spurts out from both ends of the cylinder, allowing people to clearly feel the terrifying heat contained in the grenade. He threw the grenade in the direction where the Vortex gang was moving. The moment it hit the ground, it exploded, forming a straight wall of fire across the road. 2 grenades were thrown in succession, and 2 walls of fire continued to spew flames upwards, with terrifying high temperatures venting wantonly. The unlucky guy walking in front of him plunged into the wall of fire before he could react. The terrifying high temperature swept over him instantly. Under the erosion of 2 consecutive walls of fire, the car's tires were instantly burned and melted. It was completely unable to move forward after only 2 steps and lost the ability to pursue. Even more unlucky was the motorcyclist who failed to avoid the wall of fire. All the combustible materials on his body were ignited the moment he hit the wall of fire. As the motorcycle lost control due to the flames, the unlucky guy fell to the ground with the motorcycle, leaving a long scar. The unlucky guy who fell didn't let out a sharp scream because he had installed the pain editor, but the explosion of the motorcycle next to him made him shut his mouth forever. The culprit behind all this was the grenade that Rocky had just obtained by installing the module. Open black lens bracket. Apex Heroes Grenade Pack. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket contains the 3 basic grenades in Apex Legends. Fragmentation grenade, a traditional grenade. The powerful blast carries fragments that can quickly clear the battlefield and cause massive damage to fragile flesh. Thermite grenade, it contains terrible high-temperature fuel. After the explosion, it shoots out from both ends of the grenade to form a high-temperature fire wall on the ground. It is the best choice to block the enemy and carry out cruel burning. Arc Star, the unique dart-like shape gives this grenade strong penetration and the ability to attach to the target. After the grenade penetrates the target, the strong electric shock will affect the target's ability to move, and the terrible electrical energy explosion will cause huge damage to the enemy's armor and electronic equipment. Open black lens bracket. Price adjustment. World adjustment -10% gift package discount -20%. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket item module. €10.50 set. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket synthesis table recipe expansion. €28,000 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket technology development. €35,000 close black lens bracket. In order to deal with these guys, Rocky spent €2,000 to purchase 2 item modules. After the explosions of 2 fragmentation grenades and the fire walls of 2 thermite bombs, only 1 car and 1 motorcycle were still in pursuit. Rebecca, leave it to you, Rocky shouted behind him. Learn. Rebecca, who was sitting behind Rocky, had been waiting for this sentence. Seeing Rocky continuously throwing grenades to kill the people from the Whirlpool gang, Rebecca was shocked that Rocky was so fierce, and at the same time, she felt a little itchy and wanted to participate. The motorcyclist in the front was chasing Rocky right behind him, and Rebecca in the front was trying to keep steady while shooting at a bad angle. Rebecca simply let go of the hands that were hugging Rocky, lifted her legs and wrapped them around Rocky's waist, crossing her calves in front of Rocky's waist to secure herself. He then lay back, raised his pistol and shot at the inverted target in his field of vision. Rebecca's shooting skills were very accurate, and the target had never expected Rebecca to shoot him in this way. Before he could react, Rebecca shot his head into a hornet's nest. Rocky, who was driving in front, looked down and saw that Rebecca's legs were locked tightly, and her fleshy calves were pressed tightly against Rocky. It's also thanks to Rebecca's short legs. It might not be so easy for someone with longer legs to do this. Is it so exciting? Rocky thought to himself, and suddenly a force came from his legs, and Rebecca pulled himself up by wrapping her legs around Rocky. That car is bulletproof, I can't penetrate it, Rebecca shouted at Rocky. After dealing with the motorcyclist, Rebecca turned her target to the only remaining car, but unfortunately her current firepower could not penetrate the bulletproof glass installed on the vehicle. Rebecca, can you play darts? Take this, turn on the safety button in the middle and stab them. Looking at the approaching vehicle through the rearview mirror, Rocky said to Rebecca and handed her his remaining 2 arc stars. Rebecca looked at the 2 dart-shaped objects in her hands, her mind a little confused. What, I say, press the middle safety button and stab them with the dart. The wind was whistling around them, and hearing Rebecca's doubts, Rocky raised his voice and shouted at her. Although Rebecca, who was holding the arc star, didn't understand why she had to use a dart to pierce a car that even bullets couldn't penetrate, she chose to do as Rocky said out of trust in Rocky. Rebecca leaned back again and pressed the safety of the arc star in her hand. A faint blue arc light began to climb up the arc star. He threw the arc star in his hand towards the Vortex gang's vehicle with force. The arc star flashing blue light drew a blue arc in the air. The dart, which seemed to have no lethality, easily pierced the bulletproof glass. The people in the car were looking at the blue light on the windshield, and before they realized what was happening, a strong electrical explosion swept before their eyes. As an expert in armor breaking, Arc Star undoubtedly blew the bulletproof windshield into pieces, and the broken glass shot into the car. At the same time, the vehicle went out of control under the influence of the explosion. At this moment, another Arc Star drew a graceful arc, passed through the shattered glass, and pierced straight into the car. Chapter 20 Delivery. As the electrical explosion raged inside the car, the few remaining members of the Whirlpool gang managed to get their lunch boxes. Amazing! Seeing that 2 arc stars took out a whole car of gang members, Rebecca shouted happily. All the enemies were dealt with, and Rocky slowed down the car. Rebecca also pulled Rocky to sit up, put her hands on Rocky's shoulders, and asked in his ear. Hey, where did you get these things? These grenades are all made by me. If you want them, I can send you some. This time, Rocky's grenade integration package module is only for emergency use, but it can be considered for production. After all, the functions and performance of these grenades are quite good, and the price is not expensive. You figured it out, you must be kidding. How many secrets do you have? Rocky's words once again refreshed Rebecca's cognition. This guy was a cyborg doctor one moment, then he gave her a commission, and just now he was like a tough Night City mercenary to provoke the Whirlpool gang, but now he told her that he could make grenades. There are so many things you don't know about me. But it doesn't matter, you will get to know me in the future. We still have plenty of time. That's true. Rebecca nodded. Now she was becoming more and more curious about this man. At this time, Rebecca remembered that her legs were still wrapped around Rocky, so she quickly untied her legs and switched to hugging Rocky. Sorry, the angle was not good just now, this is the only way. Feeling the restraint around my waist disappear, Rebecca's voice came from behind, explaining calmly without any embarrassment or shyness. It's okay, it's quite comfortable, Rocky said with a smile. Considering Rocky's physical strength, this little pressure is nothing and will not affect him at all. He may even feel a little bit of enjoyment about it. I can only say that the feeling of being entangled by fleshy legs is pretty good, but I don't know what the experience would be like if the barrier of clothes was removed. Hearing Rocky's teasing tone, Rebecca tapped Rocky's left hand with her pistol and responded with a smile. Hey, you guy, be careful or I'll kill you. After experiencing a battle together, the relationship between the two quickly became closer, and Rebecca began to truly accept Rocky as her friend. After sending Rebecca to the downstairs of the apartment building, Rebecca let go of Rocky, got out of the car, and waved to him. See you tomorrow, L. See you tomorrow. Watching Rebecca walk up the stairs, Rocky also rode his motorcycle back to the skyscraper. The next day, a warehouse somewhere in Japan Street. This is a warehouse that Rocky rented anonymously on the black market for the purpose of facilitating the storage and distribution of goods. In the warehouse, Rocky was counting the medicines that needed to be delivered, and each of the pre-packaged medicines was labeled with the corresponding clinic. At this time, someone knocked on the warehouse door. It was Rebecca. Morning, L. When I opened the rolling door, I saw Rebecca greeting Rocky with great energy. Morning. Rocky responded to Rebecca and looked behind her. He found a car parked outside the warehouse, as if it had brought Rebecca here. What is that? Rocky saw Falco in the car. At this time, Falco was looking forward and did not notice Rocky's gaze. Seeing Rocky's look, Rebecca explained, "That's Falco, the driver of our team." After Rebecca returned home last night, she told Man about the commission, and Man expressed his understanding. It just so happened that the team had not received any work in the past few days, so Rebecca was asked to solve it herself. Rebecca contacted Falco and asked him to help complete this commission. After all, Rebecca didn't have a car, and delivering goods naturally required a driver. Falco also gladly accepted it. After all, no one would refuse 5,000 euros for driving around Night City. Understood. Come in. Rocky nodded and invited Rebecca into the warehouse. These are the goods you are going to deliver, and each one is labeled accordingly. Rocky pointed to the boxes of goods stacked in the warehouse. No problem. Then I'll leave this place to you. I'm leaving first. After giving Rebecca a warehouse access card, Rocky left through the back door carrying a box of medicine. Riding on a motorcycle, Rocky came to Lao Wei's clinic with the medicine. How come you have time to come to my place today? Lao Wei looked at Rocky as he came to the clinic and put down the work in his hands, feeling a little curious. Nothing, just came to give you some medicine. Rocky placed a box containing 100 doses of Type 2 power stimulant on Lao Wei's desk. These are power stimulants Type 2, you can sell them in the store. Lao Wei picked up a stimulant and it was exactly the same as the one he had found in another clinic before. These things are worth a lot of money, I'll transfer them to you. Come on, Lao Wei, these things only cost a few $1,000s, which is not even enough to pay the fraction I owe you. Just take them. Until now, Rocky still owes Lao Wei nearly 100,000 yuan for goods. It can only be said that Lao Wei's money is too easy to owe. However, Rocky really cannot pay it back now. At least he has to wait until the money for the second batch of orders is received before considering it. We'll talk about the money later. If you sell these potions to other people, you can earn nearly 20,000 euros. You need the money more than I do right now. Lao Wei, you know I don't like to hear this, just keep it and consider it as the interest on the money I owe you. Okay. Lao Wei shook his head helplessly. Knowing that he couldn't persuade him, he chose to accept the potions and put them away. At this time, Rocky took out another bag of potion and handed it to Lao Wei. These are another type of stimulants, the original version, not for sale. The effect is better than the previous one, and it can make the user recover from injuries quickly, but there are requirements for the user. I brought you some, you can use it yourself or give it to your patients. If you encounter a patient who is seriously injured, this may be of good effect. Lao Wei took the bag from Rocky and took out the potion inside. It looked no different from the potion just now, except that the type was engraved on the shell. Why is it not for sale? This medicine with better effects seems to have a bigger market. Lao Wei asked. Rocky explained with a smile. Maybe it's a matter of habit. I like to keep the best things for myself, so that I can have more cards to hide. As for the things I sell, as long as they can make money, they are all the same. That sounds reasonable. Lao Wei nodded in agreement. It was always right to keep the good things for oneself. Even the most advanced and sophisticated things of those big companies were given priority to their own people. I've handed over everything to you. If there's nothing else, I'll leave first. We have to open the store today, and I think my customers are waiting anxiously. After successfully delivering the goods to Lao Wei, Rocky didn't stay for long. He said hello and went back to his clinic. Chapter 21. The next module night. Japanese street. A car pulled up behind the Turbo restaurant. The car door opened and a pair of white, fleshy legs stepped out first. That's all, thank you Falco. You can go back first, I have something else to do. After handing Falco her share of the reward, Rebecca opened the car door and got out. Why don't you go for a drink now that you're here? Falco asked in confusion, looking at Rebecca who was in a hurry. No time, hasn't the commission been completed? Why do you have so many questions? Just go back if you are told to. All right, Falco was a little helpless. Why did Rebecca look different today? It was rare to receive such an easy commission. It would be a waste not to have a few drinks to celebrate, but Falco thought and decided to leave first. Rebecca looked like she might explode soon, so he decided to go to Lizzie's bar to have some fun. After saying goodbye to Falco, Rebecca came to Rocky's clinic. The clinic door automatically approved Rebecca's visitor application. There were no customers in the clinic at that time. When Rocky saw Rebecca coming, he put down the prosthesis he was tinkering with. "It's Rebecca. How's it going? Is the commission going well?" Of course it went smoothly. It wasn't a difficult commission to begin with, and Falco's driving skills are pretty good, so it didn't take much time. As Rebecca spoke, she transferred the payment she received to Rocky. After deducting Rebecca's reward, there was still 190,000 left. Seeing the money finally arrive, Rocky was in a very good mood. "Haha, thanks." Sure enough, with a car and a driver, the goods are delivered quickly. It seems that the money spent is worth it. Rocky is also thinking that it is time to drive a four-wheeled vehicle. After all, he was alone before, and a motorcycle was enough, but now he sometimes has to deliver goods, and if he wants to develop a team in the future, a car is still necessary. Well, then this mission has been successfully completed. How about going out for a couple of drinks to celebrate? Seeing that Rocky was in a good mood, Rebecca pointed her thumb behind her and invited Rocky. "Celebrate? It seems like it's worth celebrating. Looks like I have to leave work early today." Rocky glanced at his account. With the 190,000 yuan payment for goods plus the transaction volume from the clinic this week, there was now 270,000 yuan quietly lying in his account. With this money, Rocky can install the next module, which is indeed worth celebrating. After packing up the shop and changing the sign in front of the door to read, "Closed," Rocky and Rebecca came to the parking space in front of the clinic. After buying 2 drinks, the two sat on the steps at the base of a nearby tree, chatting casually while watching the people having fun in the open space. "So your team is pretty good." "Of course, Man and Dolio are like my family. Falco is also very reliable. As for Chiwei and Lucy, they are a little cold at ordinary times, but they are actually very good people. Except for Pira, I just want to shoot his head with a gun." "Haha, I can tell. What about you? Do you have any reliable friends?" Rebecca stared at Rocky with curiosity in her eyes. Rocky took a sip of his drink and nodded. "Yes, Jack, you've seen him, at the Wolf Pub. He and I are old friends. He often takes me to do commissions and often takes me to the bar for drinks. He is one of my most trusted brothers. And my teacher, Victor, you may not have met him. He is a prosthetics doctor in Watson District. He taught me all my skills. I will take you to meet him when I have time. And of course you, Rebecca, you are also my friend." Rebecca seemed very happy to hear Rocky's answer. She couldn't help laughing and said, "What? How come there are only 3 of us including me? I thought people like you were good at making friends." "I never said that, but then again, I didn't expect you to be a cyberpunk too. This is the first time I've seen a cybernetic doctor take on a commission." Rocky spread his hands helplessly. "My clinic has only been open for a week. Before that, I was just an apprentice in my teacher's clinic. If I hadn't taken on a lot of commissions and made some money, I might still be there. But now that the clinic is thriving, I don't have much time to take on commissions." Is that so? I was thinking of inviting you to join our team. I believe Man will not refuse an additional reliable teammate," Rebecca said with a little regret. "Forget about the team. If I go to your place, Jack will probably go crazy. But I believe we will have the opportunity to fight side by side in the future." Rocky was a little surprised to hear that Rebecca wanted to recruit him into Man's team, but after thinking about it, he decided to give it up as there was no need. It is only a matter of time before Man's team falls apart. Man cannot hold on for too long. After his death, no one can support the team. David is already on Rocky's reservation list, so it can be said that he has nothing to do with Man's team anymore. It seems that the future of Man's team is bleak, and he has to rescue Rebecca and Lucy from the dire straits. Real? Certainly. The two chatted for a long time, and Rocky once again rode his motorcycle to take Rebecca home. But this time he didn't encounter the annoying Whirlpool gang on the road. Back in North Long Beach, Rebecca let go of Rocky's arms and jumped out of the car. After saying goodbye to Rebecca, Rocky did not go home directly, but went to find Wakako first. "It's L, why are you here?" Wakako looked at Rocky, who came in, feeling a little curious. "Nothing, I just wanted to thank you for recommending so many customers to me these past few days. If it weren't for you, no one would know about my clinic." As Rocky spoke, He transferred 10,000 euros to Wakako, which would be considered as advertising fee for her. It can only be said that Wakako did help him a lot. There is more to Night City than just fighting and killing. You still need to have social skills. If you want Wakako to continue to help you attract customers, this sincerity is very necessary. Haha, since you said so, I'll take the money. Wakako said with a smile. No one doesn't love money, and it is only natural to take the hard work fee for introducing people. This rule should be followed. If Rocky doesn't give it, it would be considered ignorant. After completing the trip to Wakako, Rocky can finally go home and have a good rest. The next day, Rocky sat in the clinic, not in a hurry to open it, but was looking through the modules in the system. Rocky already had some ideas about the selection of the next module. Now he has formed cooperative relationships with many clinics. Relying on the reputation he has gained from his power stimulants, many clinics have now defined Feixiong technology as a medicine workshop. If the next module also chooses to produce and sell pharmaceuticals, it will be more convenient for market development. After looking through it for a while, Rocky soon found his target. Open black lens bracket. Marvel Super Soldier Serum Close Black Lens Bracket Chapter 22 Serum Injection Open Black Lens Bracket Marvel Super Soldier Serum Close Black Lens Bracket Open Black Lens Bracket The Super Soldier Serum from the Marvel Universe can enhance the user's metabolic function and all bodily functions, allowing the user to reach the peak of human potential and have the ability to mass-produce super soldiers. After use, the user's attributes are comprehensively improved, including strength, toughness, resistance to blows, recovery, nerve reaction ability, brain utilization, etc. Multiple use is ineffective. Close black lens bracket Open black lens bracket. Price adjustment. World correction -10% Close black lens bracket Open black lens bracket Item module. 18,000 euro Dose Close black lens bracket Open black lens bracket Alchemy table recipe expansion. 180,000 euros Close black lens bracket Open black lens bracket Technology development. 270,000 euros Close black lens bracket Rocky looked at the module's information and decisively downloaded the Alchemy table recipe expansion module. The strengthening effect of the Super Soldier Serum is very good and it is also very useful for Rocky. The price is just right, but he may have to owe Old Way some more money. Nowadays, whether it is cyberpunk, gang members, or even corporate troops, they all need to strengthen their bodies. After all, not everyone is a modification fanatic, and native power is sometimes very useful. In addition to self-training, there are many drugs on the market that can enhance physical strength, but the effect is average. In addition, bioprosthetic modification is also a good choice, but this technology is still under development and has not been widely used. In contrast, the Super Soldier Serum has a very strong effect on the body. Even if you are a skinny boy, it can transform you into a strong and muscular man. And it is not just an ordinary strong man, but a strong man whose body has reached the peak of human potential. Let's put other people aside for now. If those guys who help animals and use animal hormones to increase muscle mass knew that there was such a good thing, they would definitely go crazy and want to get it, and would even go bankrupt for it. So Rocky chose Super Soldier Serum as the next stage product without much thought. The module was installed successfully, and Rocky came to the studio to check the formula of the Super Soldier Serum. Like stimulants, this recipe also has secondary recipe ingredients, and there are more of them than last time. This also makes the manufacturing process more complicated and takes more time. However, this will leave more room for maneuver, and it will be possible to modify the formula to create a weakened version of the Super Soldier Serum. After all, Rocky doesn't want to see Captain America running around the streets. As long as the effect of the serum is better than all the strengthening potions on the market and is competitive enough, that's enough. Rocky looked at the ingredients needed for the various recipes and frowned slightly. The formula this time is different from the last time. Many of the materials have become rarer. The price is okay, but it is difficult to find suppliers of these things. Rocky came to the computer terminal and checked various supplier pages and black market forums to find the materials he wanted. This process was much more difficult than Rocky had imagined. It took him 2 full days of browsing and searching and using his personal connections to finally gather all the materials. It took 5 days before Rocky finally got all the materials he needed. With the continued operation of the alchemy table, the last step of refining the Super Soldier Serum was finally completed. Looking at the several bottles of blue serum in his hand, compared to the serum in the Marvel world, the serum installed by the module is a concentrated version, and only 1 bottle is needed to achieve the enhanced effect. As for the method of use, there is nothing particular about it. Just inject it directly into the body. It can be said to be very convenient. However, it is not clear what will happen during the process of taking effect. Rocky decided to test the effect on himself first. After all, there would only be benefits and no harm. In order to better test and record the effects of the serum, and also to prevent accidents, Rocky specially called Lao Wei to his clinic. "What is this?" Old Wei asked as he looked at the blue serum handed over by Rocky. "A new drug, the Super Soldier Serum, can improve the user's physical functions in all aspects." After hearing Rocky's explanation, Lao Wei also guessed the reason why he was called over. "You want to inject this stuff?" "Yes, so please come and help me watch and record the changes in my body data." Rocky nodded. "Is it guaranteed to be safe? Are there any prior experimental guarantees?" Seeing Rocky about to inject something he had never seen before into his body, Lao Wei habitually expressed his concerns. After all, normal drugs need to undergo countless experiments to ensure that they can be safely used on the human body. "It's absolutely safe, trust me, Old Wei." With the double guarantee of the formula produced by the alchemy table and the analyzer on the workbench, Rocky was naturally sure that there would be no safety issues. All right, he connected various testing equipment to Rocky, who was lying on the operating chair, adjusted various parameters, and after making sure there were no problems, Lao Wei picked up the blue serum and came to Rocky. "Are you ready? Bring it on." As the needle was inserted into Rocky's body, the blue serum was pushed in little by little under Lao Wei's control. A dose of serum was not much, and the injection was completed quickly. Lying in the operating room, Rocky concentrated on feeling the changes in his body. "My body feels so hot and itchy. I feel so sleepy." Rocky closed his eyes uncontrollably. When Rocky opened his eyes again, what he saw was Lao Wei sitting next to him. He was so scared that he thought he had traveled through time again. "How long have I been lying there?" Rocky asked Lao Wei. "It's only been 2 hours. How do you feel now?" "I feel great. My thinking and reactions seem to have become sharper, and I have a lot of energy." Sitting up, Rocky felt the condition of his body, which was better than ever before. His perception became clearer and his body contained explosive power. "I looked down at my body and found that my body shape had not changed at all, except that my muscles seemed to have become tighter and more condensed. Your data is recorded on the terminal, come and take a look for yourself." There was a hint of disbelief in Lao Wei's tone, and it seemed that the data also shocked him. Rocky came to the terminal and checked the data. As a cyborg doctor, Rocky could naturally understand the data. According to the recorded data, Rocky's all body functions including metabolic levels have indeed been improved as described, and the improvements have been greater and more obvious in the areas where he was weaker before, which is equivalent to transforming him from a strength-oriented person into an all-round warrior. At the same time, this enhancement also includes the strengthening of the brain. It can be said that Rocky is now a hexagonal warrior. To exaggerate a little, he can now be regarded as a superhuman. It is worthy of the inventor of the Super Soldier Serum to describe it as the next step in human evolution. Chapter 23: The Power of Serum. Old Wei, what do you think? Rocky already had a general understanding of the enhanced effects of the Super Soldier, but he still wanted to hear Old Wei's thoughts. After all, Old Wei should have studied these data in advance during the 2 hours when he was transformed. "It's an amazing improvement, and it's comprehensive. According to your description and the data presented, if nothing unexpected happens, this will be an epoch-making medicine, and it may even be enough to change the ecology of the entire city. It all depends on how you use it." Lao Wei gave a very high evaluation, even higher than Rocky's expectations, which made Rocky a little confused. "Can you tell me more about it?" Seeing Rocky's confusion, Lao Wei stretched out his finger and pointed to a piece of data on the terminal. "The key lies in its development of the human brain and strengthening of nerves, as well as its improvement of human recovery and resilience, which are unprecedented." Hearing the key words in Lao Wei's words, brain and nerves, Rocky instantly understood what Lao Wei wanted to express. "What you mean is that injecting the soldier serum can improve the body's ability to withstand cybernetics?" Lao Wei nodded. "Yes, and this improvement is huge. By strengthening the brain, the body's resistance to the mental erosion brought by the prosthesis can be greatly improved. Coupled with the improvement of body functions, nerves become more resilient, which can further prevent the erosion of nerves by prostheses, greatly reducing the possibility of cyberpsychosis. At the same time, the enhancement of physical strength will also allow the user to withstand more powerful and more dangerous prostheses." Originally, Rocky thought that this was just an ordinary enhancement potion, but he didn't expect that a wonderful chemical reaction would occur under the background of Cyberpunk. It looks like this thing is going to cause quite a stir. Rocky sighed. A small serum can produce a soldier who can be equipped with powerful modified prostheses. No talent or basic knowledge is required, and there is no need to consider the risk of cyberpsychosis. Even if the extent of the enhancement is limited, it doesn't mean that anyone who is injected with the serum can reach the level of Adam's hammer or even V, but there is no problem in installing a few military-grade prostheses, if those big companies were allowed to get these serums. Rocky had no doubt that they would produce a David Legion, and it would not even be impossible to find talented people to form an Adam Hammer squad. However, Rocky will not give them this opportunity. It is precisely because the effect of the serum is too strong that Rocky is more determined to make a castration version of the potion. Otherwise, those companies would definitely try their best to monopolize all serums and make their own transformed maniac soldiers. It seems so at the moment. So what are your plans? Do you want to try getting a prosthetic? It just so happens that my prosthetic hasn't been sold yet. You've always wanted it, haven't you? It's one of the best products in Night City. Dinara's Anwiston Type 4, it's a good choice. Rocky knew that old Vina had a Swanstein prosthesis, and it was one of the best in Night City. Rocky had been thinking about it before, but in the end he found that he did not have the ability to install it. To put it simply, its reaction properties were not enough, but now that it can be installed, Rocky hesitated. Although the Sean Weston is very powerful, the model that Lao Wei has is the highest-end one. However, with the arrival of the system, Rocky has higher goals in choosing prostheses. Open black lens bracket. Project Annihilation Series Tyrant Operating System Close black lens bracket. Looking at the project prosthesis worth 300,000 euros in the module store. As the strongest weapon of Project Company and one of the trump cards used to fight against Project Iron Man, this super prosthesis from Project Crocodile is Rocky's target. Although changing prosthetics in Cyberpunk can be considered very convenient, they are prosthetics from two different worlds after all, so there will be some differences. If there is any inconsistent connection between the nerves of the two prostheses, resulting in the loss of a nerve, that would be a serious problem. Even if it can be repaired through nanosurgery, it would take a lot of time. After much hesitation, Rocky decided to reject Lao Wei's proposal. After all, there was no turning back once the knife was cut. For Rocky, the goal of 300,000 euros is not far away from him. He believes that once the super soldier serum is put on the market, a lot of money will follow. Thanks, Lao Wei, but forget it. I don't plan to install prosthetics for the time being. Lao Wei was not surprised to hear Rocky's refusal. You're still the same. Well, I'll leave now. Take some time to adjust to your body, and remember to contact me if anything happens. Wait a minute, Lao Wei, don't you want to have a shot before you leave? Rocky shook the blue serum in his hand towards Lao Wei. Why would I need this thing? I don't have to run around fighting all day, and I don't have anything on me. Lao Wei shook his head, indicating that he was not very interested in the serum. You can't say that. This thing has so many benefits. In addition to strengthening the body, it can also delay aging and increase lifespan. I don't want to attend your funeral so early. As Rocky spoke, he began to debug the equipment, seemingly not giving Lao Wei any chance to refuse. In desperation, Lao Wei asked Rocky to inject him with the super soldier serum. As the injection was completed, Rocky smiled sincerely as he looked at Old Wei, who looked a lot younger. It turns out that you have to experience it yourself to feel the magic of this thing. Old Wei, feeling the surging power in his body, couldn't help but sigh. After sending Old Wei away, Rocky began to study the weakened version of the super soldier serum. Open black lens bracket. Semi-finished super soldier serum. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. A semi-finished product of the super soldier serum, which has the same strengthening effect as the super soldier serum, but will turn the user into an ugly monster. Close black lens bracket. Isn't this the thing that Red Skull uses? Rocky complained in his heart as he looked at the description given on the analyzer. After disposing of this serum, Rocky devoted himself to the research of serum again. With the experience from the previous time, this research became relatively smoother. Open black lens bracket. Advanced Soldier Serum, 50%, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. A derivative of the Marvel Universe's Super Soldier Serum that enhances the user's metabolic function and all bodily functions. A weakened version of the Super Soldier Serum, retaining only 50% of its original potency. close black lens bracket. Without spending too much on materials, Lodge found the version he wanted. Looking at the advanced soldier serum in his hand, Rocky nodded with satisfaction. The cost of producing a unit of advanced soldier serum is about 3,000 euros. Rocky plans to sell it for 20,000 euros, which is naturally no problem considering the value brought by the serum, but Rocky was worried about whether those clinics were willing to spend 20,000 euros to purchase an untested drug. After all, Rocky couldn't provide them with samples this time. Fortunately, he has already gained a good reputation from his previous use of stimulants, so someone should choose to be the first to try it. If all else fails, Rocky can go to the animal gang or a company for cooperation. As long as he shows enough sincerity, Rocky believes he will get a large order. Once he earns enough money for the Project Origin Cyborg, perhaps he won't have to be so timid anymore. Chapter 24 Company Dog Company Square. Arasaka Tower 33rd floor. Arasaka Counterintelligence Division. In an office cubicle, a department employee is reviewing the reports sent to his computer today. Open black lens bracket. Arasaka Counterintelligence Investigation Report, NC 8754699 close black lens bracket open black lens bracket, Feixiong Technology, Investigation Report close black lens bracket open black lens bracket investigator, Stephen close black lens bracket open black lens bracket content of investigation report. A preliminary investigation has been completed regarding the Ascend Technology Power Stimulant Type 2 feat that has been circulated in underground clinics recently. This stimulant can increase the user's movement speed for 1 minute, and no more valuable effects have been found so far. Regarding Ascension Technology Company, the company's transactions with underground clinics were submitted via email, and deliveries were carried out by dispatching mercenaries. No relevant information or company employees were found. Whether to continue investigating the company is pending further instructions. Close black lens bracket. He glanced briefly at the report and found that the content did not cause any waves for the employee, so he casually typed out the report instructions. Open black lens bracket. Based on the content of this report, we are unable to determine the specific intelligence value of this technology company. We will no longer investigate it until it takes further action, and will reduce the priority of this investigation project by 1 level. Regarding the stimulants mentioned in the report, a preliminary analysis report and value assessment report of the drug needs to be prepared and handed over to the Logistics Support Department. Close black lens bracket. With the quick operation of the company's employees, the report instructions are sent to the employees responsible for the report. What the hell is going on? It's all this crap all day long. Stretching, the employee complained. The investigation into the so-called Ascension technology was just a small matter among the intelligence he dealt with every day. All kinds of strange things appear in Night City every day, but most of them are worthless, and this doping report is such a thing for Arasaka. The so-called technology company only produced an ordinary stimulant, which did not attract Arasaka's attention at all, otherwise this report would not have been submitted after so many days, because its priority was already very low. I really envy you, V. Being noticed by Jenkins, your promotion speed is like riding a rocket. The employee's voice rang out in the office cubicle, and V, who was sitting opposite him, shifted his attention from what he was doing when he heard him mention himself. It's not as exaggerated as you say. Seeing that V was still stubborn, the employee sitting opposite him moved his chair and looked at V, teasing, "Come on, the news that Jenkins wants to transfer you to the company's spy intelligence team is all over the place, and everyone knows it. As long as you keep performing well, we guys will have to listen to you sooner or later." Hearing this, V could only shake his head helplessly. Okay, you're right. Ever since V came to Night City's counterintelligence department, he has been noticed by the department's director, Jenkins, their immediate superior, for his outstanding personal abilities, and many operations have been personally assigned to him. It can be said that all colleagues in the department now know that this guy has a bright future. V is also very clear about this, so he has been actively cooperating with Jenkins and doing every job handed to him to the utmost. No one in the company doesn't want to climb up, even V. But let me ask you, is this news true? It's been circulating for days, and you haven't been promoted yet. That's true, but Jenkins said this kind of cross-level staff transfer needs to be approved by the higher-ups, so it may take some time. Hearing the employee's doubts, V nodded in affirmation. Jenkins did tell him in person that he would be transferred to a higher-level task force, but there has been no movement so far. Logically speaking, even if it needs to be approved, it shouldn't take so long. But V couldn't ask Jenkins directly, so he could only wait. The two were chatting when V received a call from his boss Jenkins. V, come to my office now. Jenkins' voice came from the other end of the phone. Okay, I'll be right there. V replied quickly. Seeing that V received a call from Jenkins, the colleague on the other side also looked at him and joked, it seems that our big star has to take on another errand. Just keep your words to yourself. Okay, but if you ask me, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Sometimes standing high isn't necessarily a good thing. The head of the intelligence tracking team, you know that guy, she is Jenkins' confidant like you, and one of the best guys in the counterintelligence department. I'll tell you a secret. I heard someone say that they saw that girl vomit in the bathroom today. She vomited so hard, I think she was under too much pressure. Don't follow her example, haha, aren't you afraid that he will find out about you talking about her behind her back? V teased him when he saw that he dared to secretly gossip about his superior behind her back. V knew the guy he was talking about, the powerful person in the department. Although he had only met her a few times, her unique dark red hairstyle that looked like 3 petals left a great impression on V. Hey, I'm just reminding you out of kindness, and I know you won't tell anyone about it. Okay, I'll pay attention to that, thank you. V, who was in a hurry to meet Jenkins, did not say any more to the gossipy colleague. He just exchanged a few words and then opened the door and left the office cubicle. Jenkins' office was not far away, and after a few steps V arrived at the office and met Jenkins. The well-tailored suit makes Jenkins look exceptionally respectable, and coupled with his aura as a superior, one can sense his extraordinary status at a glance. You're here, take a seat, Jenkins said as he sat down. V pulled out a chair and sat down as instructed, but before he could ask, Jenkins spoke again. I called you here this time because I have a mission for you. But it's a little different from before. This mission doesn't come from the company, but from me personally. Jenkins' voice was clear and powerful, and he didn't seem to give V any room for consideration. I understand, so can you tell me about the mission first? Take a look at this first. Jenkins pushes a box with a data chip in it towards V. Data chip, yes, the information related to the mission is in there. When V heard Jenkins asking him to insert the data chip, he realized that something was wrong. Generally, the company's task information is sent and received through the internal network. Even if it is a private task assigned to him by Jenkins, there is no need to use data chips for data exchange. This distinct freelance mercenary approach clearly means that this information is not to be seen in public, and the content of the mission is obviously the same. V realized that something was wrong, but at this point he suppressed his emotions, picked up the data chip and inserted it into the slot to read it. As the contents of the data chip were read, V also saw his mission objective. This is Chapter 25 Jenkins' Trial. V saw the contents of the chip, which detailed the recent business schedule of a company called Molly Pharmaceuticals. What shocked V was that one of the company's latest activities was actually a business cooperation meeting with Arasaka. The chip records in detail the company's itinerary for the meeting, security arrangements, information on participants, and other important information. V is not a fool. At this point, Jenkins's meaning is self-evident. V did not say anything else. He was waiting for Jenkins' explanation. This chip records the arrangement of cooperation between this company and Arasaka. What I want you to do is to use this information to eliminate them before the cooperation is reached, using your own methods. V's heartbeat quickened slightly when he heard Jenkins' affirmative answer. V had been involved in this kind of mission before. As an excellent field agent with a high talent for espionage, he had naturally experienced many assassinations of other company members. According to the information in the chip, Molly Pharmaceuticals is just a relatively small company in the United States. It stands to reason that getting rid of a few employees or even executives of such a company is nothing to V, but this time, it is not just as simple as dealing with a few executives. What he wants to do this time is to develop a cooperation project with Huang Arasaka. If he is asked to interfere with the cooperation of military technology, he will not be afraid, because he has the support of Arasaka. But if he is to deal with Arasaka, who is behind him? No one, Jenkins. If this thing is exposed, he may not help me get out of it. It can be said that if this is discovered, then he is basically finished unless Jenkins is willing to protect him. After a moment of silence, V said, "You said this mission came from you personally, so can I choose to refuse?" Hearing what V said, Jenkins smiled slightly, as if he was not worried at all that V would really refuse. "Of course, I can't force you to do it, but have you really thought about it? Jenkins tapped his fingers on the tabletop a few times and continued. You know V, ever since you came to the counterintelligence department of Night City, I have been very optimistic about you and assigned you to complete the operation. You have performed very well. Everyone in the department knows that I am intending to promote you. You are excellent, but for me, that is not enough. If you want to climb higher, you must show higher value and sincerity. Jenkins' eyes flashed with data streams, and he called up the holographic display on the table and showed VA file. Remember when I told you that I wanted to transfer you? The approval from above has come down a long time ago, but I haven't told you yet. Now the final decision is in my hands. Think about it, as long as you accept this task and do it beautifully, you will be able to complete the transfer in a natural way, and then be promoted all the way to become my right-hand man. All the company benefits will be close to you, and power will follow. After a pause, Jenkins turned off the monitor and pointed his finger at the office door. But if you reject it today and walk out of this door, you will have nothing. Have you thought it through? Although it is hard to admit, what Jenkins said is indeed true. V is not a rookie who knows nothing. To be able to reach this position in the company, he naturally knows all kinds of things in the workplace. The mission before him now was obviously an opportunity given to him by Jenkins. Accepting it was equivalent to boarding Jenkins' warship. With this relationship, it was believed that it was only a matter of time before he reached the top of the counterintelligence department. Jenkins can also use this opportunity to confirm V's loyalty and reliability, and ensure that V is worthy of being trained as a confidant. If he refused, V might not be able to make any further progress in the counterintelligence department. As for using this secret to inform on Jenkins, that would be a dead end. Okay, I accept, but I want to hear why. After thinking for a moment, V compromised and kept the chip that Jenkins gave him. In the face of huge profits, this risk is totally worth it. Besides, the mission did not require him to assassinate Arasaka directly. It was just to deal with several executives of small companies. Even if the cooperation with Arasaka was ruined, the matter was not to the point where it could not be resolved. It's a wise decision. Jenkins saw V accept the chip and smiled, and continued. Molly Pharmaceuticals, a US-based pharmaceutical company, was originally unknown, but recently developed a powerful immunosuppressant that is several levels more potent than the military-grade immunosuppressants on the market. It plays a key role in the company's various experiments. Originally, this matter had nothing to do with Arasaka. As a local company, they were overtaken by military technology and were ready to cooperate. But that bitch in the Special Operations Department used some unknown means to make them join Arasaka, so this cooperation was born. If they can get this deal done, it will be another favorable trump card for her, and the bitch's position will become more stable. I don't want to see this happen, understand? Jenkins explained. Since V took on the task he gave him, he had become one of Jenkins' own, so Jenkins also gave him enough patience. Special Operations? Yes, Director of Special Operations, Abernathy. This is a personal vendetta between her and me. Jenkins nodded. Okay, I understand. I'll take care of it. After getting Jenkins' explanation, V was relieved. At least Jenkins was not going to go against Arasaka. This kind of personal grudge between high-level officials is not uncommon. As long as Jenkins did not directly assassinate Abernathy, even if he was eventually exposed, the impact on him would not be too great, and he would not be killed with him. Relax. Although this cooperation is important, it hasn't been finalized yet, right? Accidents are always common in Night City. As long as the cooperation is disrupted by then, this small enterprise will lose the protection of Arasaka and offend military technology. It will not be able to survive for a few more days and will have no time to trouble you. As for Arasaka, I will handle the impact of the incident. And once I get your transfer approved, I will give you higher authority, which will make it easier for you to operate. As long as we do some manipulation and blame it on military technology, I think no one will think there is something wrong. After hearing Jenkins' analysis, V nodded in agreement. The difficulty and risk of this task were not too high. All we can say is that this was just an opportunity given to him by Jenkins, the purpose of which was to test whether V was willing to join his camp and bind himself to him. There was no reason not to eat the cake that was right in front of him, and V gradually accepted this result. Chapter 26 V's Commission. Here, this is the money you are given to do your work. Remember to use cash and find someone you trust. Don't let others sell you out and affect me. Jenkins took out a wad of cash and handed it to V. If he wanted to do this kind of dirty work but had no company agents to support him, he could only ask professional mercenaries to do it. Jenkins didn't plan to let V pay for this money. Don't worry, I know what to do. After taking the money, V walked out of Jenkins' office, only to find a man waiting outside the office, the guy he had talked about with the team members before. Her eyes, which were equipped with red optical prostheses, made it difficult to tell where she was looking. If Rocky saw this, he would be surprised that this guy was the senior manager of the Arasaka counterintelligence department in the future David incident. It was she who was responsible for investigating Lucis' case, and it was also her instruction to contact Faraday and bring about the final outcome. I know you. Your name is V, right? Jenkins told me that he had something important to discuss and asked me to wait. I didn't expect that it was you who was inside. It seems that the news that Jenkins intends to promote you is true. Work hard, kid. She didn't expect that the important thing Jenkins mentioned was actually related to V. It seemed that this guy was indeed a bit of a threat to her, but she can't influence Jenkins' thoughts. But at least for now, she and V are in different fields, so maybe they can get along harmoniously. Without waiting for V to respond, she walked into Jenkins' office on her own, and V obviously didn't like her very much. The work Jenkins gave him was already enough to deal with, and he was not in the mood to pay attention to her words. After leaving Jenkins' office, V called Jack. V has the most suitable choice to find someone he can trust to complete this task, and that is Jack. Jack is V's good brother. Although one of them became a freelance mercenary in Night City and the other became a company dog, they still keep in touch from time to time and their friendship remains unchanged. As a mercenary in Night City, Jack has done a lot of dirty work for V. When the incident cannot be carried out by using the power of Arasaka, V will find Jack. Based on his understanding of Jack, as long as Jack was willing to help him, the matter would be 90% done. V, didn't you talk to me on the phone this morning? How come you have time to contact me again? It looks like you don't have to work overtime today. The call was quickly connected, and Jack's voice came from the other end. On the contrary, I contacted you because I had to work overtime. Jack, I need your help with something. We need to find a place to talk. Well, it looks like you're in trouble again. I'm in Watson District, just come to Lizzie's bar and we'll see you later. Jack didn't ask any more questions. After agreeing on the location, V left Arasaka Tower and went to Lizzie's bar. Lizzie bar. In a private room. I roughly understand. Is it to get rid of the executives of these small companies? Rocky looked at the information in the chip and analyzed the mission. Not long ago, Rocky was producing soldier serum in the clinic, but he received a call from Jack. On the phone, Jack wanted Rocky to come to Liz's bar, saying that there was a commission that needed his help and wanted to hear his opinion. Listening to Jack's tone, Rocky knew that Jack had encountered something more important, not the minor commissions he had received in the past few days. Rocky naturally wouldn't refuse if his brother needed help. Jack knew that he was busy in the clinic. If it wasn't a difficult matter, given Jack's character, Rocky believed that he would not choose to trouble him, so Rocky rushed to Lizzie's bar immediately. Yes, but we have to do it the day after tomorrow at the latest. The goal is to disrupt their cooperation with Arasaka, and the meeting will be held the day after tomorrow. That's not a simple matter. According to the information in the chip, they are now living in the Blue Bay building. I don't think they will step out of the building until the cooperation is finalized. That's Arasaka's territory. Safety and reliability are their bywords. If they knew that a few petty thieves killed their guests right under their noses, I think you know better than me what Arasaka will do. Rocky explained his analysis, and Jack nodded beside him. It was obvious that he had just talked to V and said something similar to what he said. As the most upscale hotel in Night City, the Blue Mansion serves elites exclusively, and the security measures there are quite strict. At the same time, Arasaka also attaches great importance to it, and killing people there is quite risky. Don't worry, I will handle the aftermath of this incident. I will put the blame on Militech and shift Arasaka's focus from finding the murderer to putting pressure on Militech. What you need to think about is how to get rid of the target. I can't help you in this regard, otherwise it will easily leave traces. By the way, I don't know if Jack has told you that I work in the Arasaka counterintelligence department. In order to convince Rocky, V did not hesitate to introduce himself, mainly because when he talked to Jack just now, Jack made it clear that it would be up to Rocky to decide whether to accept the commission. On the one hand, Jack didn't want to get involved in the company's affairs and didn't want to become the executioner who helped the company harm others. On the other hand, He didn't want to give up such a big order. And after all, V is also his brother, and Jack still hopes to help him within his ability. So Jack no longer hesitated and decided to give the choice to Rocky. If he was willing to take the order, then do it. This is what led Rocky to come to Lizzie's bar, and this happened. Rocky looked at V in front of him and nodded. This was his first time to meet the famous V face to face. He had heard Jack mention that he had such a corporate dog brother. Rocky guessed it was V at that time, but he had little contact with V in the past 2 years. The main reason is that V is a company dog after all, and is generally not liked by cyberpunks. Only good brothers like Jack can maintain close contact with V. Jack didn't know whether Rocky and V could get along well, so in order to avoid any unpleasantness, he didn't arrange for them to meet. But this time I really had no choice. Well, in that case, I choose to accept this commission. Jack, what do you think? I said, it's up to you this time. After some thought, Rocky decided to take on this commission. Although there are risks, they are not fatal. Rocky is confident that he can complete the commission. The commission was also quite high. 60,000 euros was 20,000 euros even if it was divided among 3 people. Although it was not as much as Rocky made from selling potions, it was still a relatively big deal in the cyberpunk community, and Rocky's main purpose is actually to establish a good relationship with V. He believes that in the future he will have to deal with many large companies. At this time, the value of a good brother from the Arasaka Counterintelligence Department can be said to be very high. Chapter 27 Hacker, thanks, brother. V was originally a little worried that if Rocky was unwilling to take on this business, things would become more troublesome. Fortunately, Rocky accepted the commission. After discussing the details of the mission with Rocky and Jack, V left Lizzie's bar. There are still many things that need to be arranged in advance regarding the follow-up of this mission, and V dare not delay any longer. I thought you would refuse. At this time, Jack and Rocky were the only 2 people left in the box. Jack took a sip of wine and said, "What, you don't want to take this job? This is a big deal." Rocky naturally knew what Jack was thinking, just like in the future when V wanted to commission Jack to assassinate Abernathy and Jack refused him. Jack, like most cyberpunks in Night City, hates corporations and does not want to work for them. Just as Jack said, living for yourself is the only way out, and Jack has always adhered to this. "No, I just feel like being associated with the company will never end well." Jack shook his head. "But he is your brother, isn't he?" Rocky raised the wine on the table and drank it all, teasing with a smile. "Yes, he is my brother. But I always thought that he sold his soul to Arasaka. It sounds good to say that he wants to climb to the top. But above him is that shitty Jenkins, and above Jenkins is Saburo Arasaka, so he will never be able to climb to the top." "Hey, maybe, don't be too pessimistic." Rocky comforted the grumbling Jack and continued, "Jack, what would you do if one day I became what everyone calls a corporate dog? Why are you thinking about this? What does your opening of a clinic have to do with the company?" "I'm serious, and I don't think it will be long." Hearing that Rocky's tone didn't sound like a joke, Jack, who had been nonchalant, turned his head to look at Rocky, paused for a moment, and seemed to be really thinking about this issue again. "Hey, what can I do? This isn't the first time I've dealt with corporate bastards. Come on, there's no point in talking about this, just think about how to complete the task." Jack interrupted the chat and said that this mission was not that simple. If they didn't really want to die, it was necessary to make a detailed plan. Forging an identity, booking a room, and then hacking into the target room, all the plans you mentioned are what hackers would do. "So where are our hackers?" Jack asked a soul-searching question. After a long discussion, the 2 had a preliminary execution plan, but to complete a task of this level, hackers were indispensable, but there was no hacker in their team. Although Rocky had learned hacking knowledge, he had not installed a network access warehouse and was obviously not competent. And with his level, it can be said that he is completely not capable of hacking into their system in the Ganby building. Normally, the hackers commissioned by the 2 were usually introduced temporarily by middlemen, but this time there was obviously no middleman involved. "Good question, Jack, you hit the nail on the head. We both know how thick Arasaka's ice is. We need not only a hacker, but also a high-level hacker with superb skills who dares to touch Arasaka ice. So what do you think?" Rocky decided to first see what Jack's goals and ideas were, and if Rocky were to decide, there would indeed be a target candidate, that is Lucy. As a hacker trained by Arasaka, Lucy not only has outstanding technical skills and talent, but is also very familiar with Arasaka's ice, This also gave her a special advantage in dealing with Arasaka's systems, which was also an important reason why she could easily sneak deep into Tanaka's system to search for data in Edgewalker, and at the same time burn the brains of Arasaka's agents who copied and tracked down intelligence. It can be said that Lucy is quite suitable for this mission, and considering Lucy's hatred towards Arasaka, Rocky believes that she will not refuse the commission to carry out the Huang-Arasaka cooperation project. What can I think? This question should be asked to you. Don't you often tinker with hacker technology? You should know a lot of hackers. Jack spread his hands to indicate that he had no idea. I can't say I know her, but I do know a hacker who is very familiar with Arasaka, has good skills, and should be interested in this business. It may take some time to find her, but I can't guarantee that she will join. Rocky expressed his thoughts. Jack nodded after hearing Rocky's description. According to what you said, she is indeed a good candidate. But this reminds me that I also know a hacker who is one of the best hackers in Night City. Although I have never worked with her, everyone in the underworld knows that she is one of the best hackers in Night City. You mean T-Bug, right? Yes, that's her. T-Bug's skills are indeed top-notch in Night City, and he has a very good reputation in the mercenary circle. He is indeed a good choice. After thinking about it, Rocky decided to try to recruit Lucy first. Apart from satisfying their own selfish desires, Rocky and Jack have never cooperated with either Lucy or T-Bug. In comparison, finding T-Bug is no easier than finding Lucy. How about this? I'll go try to recruit my candidates first, and if the deal doesn't work out then I'll go find T-Bug. Then you have to hurry up, time is running out. I know. Having made the decision, the two decided not to stay in the bar any longer. Many of the remaining plans needed to be finalized after communicating with the hacker, so there was no point in staying here. After saying goodbye to Jack, Rocky rode his motorcycle to his clinic. It was not difficult for Rocky to find Lucy. He had Rebecca's contact information. He just needed to give her a call and he would know where Lucy was. What Rocky didn't expect was that when he returned to the open space in front of the clinic, he saw Rebecca drinking among the cheerful crowd. Another glance over, Man, Dolio, Pira, Falco, Chiwei, and Lucy were all here. It seemed that they had come to celebrate the team building. Now I don't even have to make a phone call. I want a drink like hers. After parking the car, Rocky came to the mobile drive-in bar where Rebecca was and sat next to her. Rebecca also noticed Rocky at this time. She seemed a little surprised by his appearance, but also seemed happy about his arrival. Hey, Elle, why are you here? I just went to your clinic and wanted to ask you out for a drink, but I found out it was closed. Rebecca said with a smile. During the few days I met Rebecca, Rebecca's team also came to the restaurant. The last time Rebecca went to the clinic with some wine to chat with Rocky, but Rocky was busy. Rebecca watched him perform the operation until he finished and then went out for a drink with him. Unexpectedly, Rocky's clinic was closed this time. Now Rocky appeared in front of her again, which made her feel as if she had regained what she had lost. Chapter 28 Lucy, I just went out to do some work and just came back now. How is your work going recently? Rocky raised the wine glass in his hand and shook it, looking at the wine inside. Rocky had already had a round of drinks at Liz's bar just now, so he didn't have much desire to drink anymore. Well, it's going well, otherwise I wouldn't have the time to come here. To drink, don't you think? Cheers. Rebecca raised the glass in her hand, clinked glasses with Rocky and drank the wine in one gulp. Rocky looked at Rebecca's generous look and took a sip of wine helplessly. Elle, what happened? Why do you ask? Rocky turned his head to look at Rebecca, and Rebecca seemed to have been staring at Rocky. When their eyes met, Rocky felt a little confused. Nothing, it's just that from the way you look at me, you seem to be thinking about something. Is it so obvious? But I did encounter a bad thing. Rocky had indeed been thinking about this commission, but he was not the kind of person who would show his thoughts on his face. It could only be said that Rebecca's observation was indeed on point. Ha, it's not that obvious actually. So you are in some trouble, do you need my help? Nothing much, I just got a deal and now I'm still short of a hacker. By the way, Rebecca, you told me that your team has a backup hacker. Tell me about her. Rocky revealed his real purpose. It would be too reckless to go directly to Lucy, and there might be some accidents. It would be better to contact her through Rebecca. You mean Lucy? Rebecca turned around and looked behind her, pointing with her little finger, and Rocky also turned around and looked in the direction Rebecca pointed. I saw a beautiful figure sitting alone outside the noisy crowd, and her unique rainbow gradient hair color made it easy to identify her. At the same time, her perfect slender figure matched with the matching sexy outfit makes her back look particularly beautiful and attractive. Hey, the one sitting over there is Lucy. As for her, she was introduced by Chiwei and has been in the team for almost a year. She is indeed the backup hacker in the team, and she is not usually needed for all missions. So sometimes you will see that she is not here. As for her, she generally doesn't get along well with people like us and is usually a bit dull. Maybe all hackers are like this, I'm not really sure. And I feel like she hasn't really integrated into the group yet. As for the hacking level, it can be said to be very good. Rebecca introduced Lucy, and it was just as Rebecca said, generally speaking, hackers in a team are rather special, and their relationship with other mercenaries is relatively not that close. There are even many hackers who work with multiple teams and do not have completely fixed teammates. Therefore, it is common to see hackers in a mercenary team drinking alone instead of staying with other teammates, not to mention that Lucy is just a substitute hacker and has only been a member of the team for a short time. Are you thinking of getting her to join your commission? Rebecca knew what Rocky was thinking when she heard that he was in need of a hacker, and Rocky nodded generously. Yes, she is a member of your team anyway, so I can rest assured. Besides, isn't she a backup hacker? I think you may not need her in the next few days, so it would be great if you can bring her in. Haha, you're right, Lucy is indeed a very reliable hacker. Then I'll go talk to her first. Thank you, Rebecca. With the preparation, Rocky didn't plan to waste any more time. After saying hello to Rebecca, he took his wine and walked towards Lucy's seat. Rebecca was also stunned when she saw the anxious Rocky. It seemed that this guy wasn't so passionate just now. Hey, what is this guy doing? He ran away before we even started chatting for a while. Rebecca had no choice but to turn around and order a glass of wine from the bar. On the other side, Rocky, holding the wine, quickly came to Lucy's seat and sat directly next to her. Rocky was sitting next to her, but Lucy's expression didn't change at all, and she didn't even turn to look at Rocky. She seemed to be used to people coming up to her and chatting her up, but she was clearly not interested. Of course, although Lucy didn't seem to be moving on the surface, the network access cabin installed on her body was already running. If there is any fool who dares to do something bad, such as touching someone, Lucy will let him know what will happen if he messes with a hacker. Rocky didn't rush to speak, but looked at Lucy. Except for the glance at Lucy when he just came back, this was the first time Rocky saw Lucy up close, and it was also his first contact with Lucy. Hey, this is really pretty. This is simply how Rocky thought at the moment. Rocky had imagined meeting Lucy, but when he actually came into close contact with Lucy, he found that Lucy was even more beautiful than he had imagined. After experiencing Rebecca's baptism last time, Rocky quickly suppressed his inner throbbing this time and just slowed down his breathing slightly. You must be Lucy. Rocky looked at the indifferent Lucy and spoke first. Although Lucy didn't react much, Rocky understood Lucy. She looks cold, but that's mostly to protect herself. If you can get into her heart, you'll find that she's hotter than anyone else. What's up? Hearing that Rocky knew her name, Lucy finally responded and turned to look at Rocky. I'm Rebecca's friend. I heard that you're a hacker in their team, so I wanted to come and talk to you. Rebecca, yeah, I just finished talking to her over there. Rocky nodded. Lucy turned her head to look in Rebecca's direction. Rebecca was still sitting at the bar drinking, but for some reason her head was turned to look at them. Their eyes met. Rebecca was about to turn around but saw Rocky also looking at her, smiling and waving at her. Rebecca could only wave at Rocky and give them a thumbs up to show her approval. Well, you saw it too. Rocky proved that he was not lying, and Lucy nodded. What they didn't see was that Rebecca, who had her back to them, drank the entire bottle of wine that had just been brought to her. What? That idiot, that bastard, he came to me just to find Lucy. Forget it, why am I thinking about this? Boss, another bottle please. After drinking several bottles of wine in a row, Rebecca was a little drunk. She couldn't help but look back. Under the light, Rocky and Lucy were sitting side by side, talking about something. I don't know if he was a little drunk or what. Looking at Rocky's back that gave her a sense of security and Lucy's beautiful back, they seemed to be a perfect match. But it also made her feel a sense of crisis that her things were about to be taken away by others. Chapter 29 Lucy's hesitation. I have a commission and need a hacker. Are you interested? Tell me about it. Rocky went straight to the point, and Lucy was not surprised to hear Rocky's purpose. Although she wasn't very interested, Lucy still chose to listen to the content of the commission first. This matter is related to Arasaka. Take a look at what's in the chip first. Rocky took out the data chip and handed it to Lucy. When Lucy heard the word Arasaka, her originally calm heart was disturbed for a moment, and it seemed that her heartbeat slowed down by half a beat. But she quickly returned to normal, reached out and pushed away the chip that Rocky handed over. Sorry, I'm not interested. Lucy has been trying to escape from Arasaka's pursuit, trying to get out of Arasaka's shadow. Her fear of Arasaka is actually greater than her hatred, so all she had been thinking about was escaping from here, rather than using a nuclear bomb to blow up Arasaka Tower, because she knew she couldn't do it. Arasaka was not something she could shake, and all she could do was escape. She would be happy to do such trivial things as stealing the chip of the dog in Arasaka Company, but if she was asked to do a commission related to Arasaka that involved high-level officials, she would exclude herself immediately. Although he didn't know what the commission Loki gave him was, as long as it was related to Arasaka, it would be better to have less trouble than more. Whether it was going against Arasaka or helping Arasaka, she didn't want to get involved. Why? Is it because of Arasaka? Don't worry, the chip doesn't contain Arasaka's information, and there won't be Arasaka agents coming to kill people and silence them. It's not too late for you to take a look first. This is a big deal. The reward is 60,000 euros, if you come and split it equally among 3 people, you will have 20,000. Rocky didn't expect Lucy to refuse so decisively. But Rocky didn't care. If it were him, he would probably refuse if someone he had never met asked him to fight Arasaka. After hearing Rocky's words, Lucy hesitated for a moment, but still took the chip and took a look at the situation of the commission first. The goal is to get rid of the few corporate dogs on the chip and prevent Arasaka from cooperating on the project. We'll start the day after tomorrow. Don't worry about being retaliated by Arasaka after this, military technology will help us bear the consequences. While Lucy was checking the contents of the chip, Rocky explained. After checking the contents, Lucy pulled out the chip and returned it to Rocky. Is this what you mean by having something to do with Arasaka? Even if someone has to bear the consequences of going against Arasaka, do you know what that is? That's the Blue Sky building, Arasaka's territory. You want me to hack into the network there? That's no different from committing suicide. I won't go. Find someone else. Maybe Chi Wei will be willing to wade into this muddy water. Lucy rejected Rocky again, but this time her emotions were not as calm as before. Asking her to go to the Blue Sky building was like entering a wolf's den, not to mention hacking into Arasaka's network. I don't understand. You seem to be afraid of Arasaka. Why? It's just the Blue Sky building. It's not like we're going to assassinate Saburo Arasaka. Besides, what's so great about Arasaka? Rocky shook his head and said that he naturally knew what Lucy was worried about. It was not so easy to persuade her to deal with Arasaka. Whether I'm afraid of Arasaka or not is none of your business. You make it sound easy, but you don't know Arasaka at all, and you don't know how terrifying they are. Anyway, I can't do it. Rocky's statement that Lucy was afraid of Arasaka seemed to have touched a nerve with her. Lucy became unusually excited, and the tone and volume of her voice rose several levels. Fortunately, the crowd around was noisy enough and no one noticed the abnormality here. Affected by Lucy's excitement, even Rocky's emotions fluctuated in a rare way. Rocky drank the wine in his hand, threw the glass away, and spoke to her in a voice louder than Lucy's. I don't understand Arasaka. It's you who don't understand me at all. I know what kind of existence Arasaka is better than anyone else, but I don't care. In my eyes, Arasaka is no different from any other shitty company. I hate them, but I will never be afraid of them. These crappy companies have been high and mighty for too long. What we should do is not to remain silent and fearful, but to turn our bodies into flames. No matter how unbearable and broken they are, we must let them know that this world will not always decay under their shadows. There will be people who will choose to resist, choose to pull them off the altar, drag them into hell, and burn them to ashes. You see, one day I will let them know, I will climb up on their bloody bones and stand on their heads. Lucy was stunned listening to Rocky's emotional words. Although she didn't know Rocky, and didn't even know his name, Rocky's words did shock her and touched her heart. She has received Arasaka's devilish training since she was a child and has never felt the love of her family. After the training was completed, she was thrown into the old internet to mine data. During one mission after another, my companions died one after another, and I didn't know when it would be my turn. Such a childhood made Lucy hate Arasaka more than anyone else. She dreamed of destroying Arasaka, but the reality was that she couldn't do it, and no one could do it. So her dream can only be to escape from Arasaka, the farther the better, to a place where Arasaka can't find her, to the moon. But now there was someone in front of her telling her that he wanted to destroy Arasaka. Even though she thought that Rocky was dreaming and it was totally unrealistic, she was still touched by Rocky's words. After a long silence, Lucy calmed down and regained her composure. She hesitated for a moment, took a deep breath and spoke. Maybe you're right, but even if you say that, I still feel I can't do it. Arasaka's system ice is very thick and dangerous. There are also their hackers. I don't have confidence. Mainly, I am indeed afraid of Arasaka. Rocky's words softened Lucy's attitude and she was not so distant from him, but she was still a little hesitant. Lucy, Rebecca said that your skills are amazing and that you are a genius. Although I don't know what grudge you have with Arasaka and why you are afraid of it, I believe you can do it and overcome your fear. Moreover, if you join my team, I will protect you. If Arasaka comes to trouble you, I will be the first one to kill him at Arasaka Tower. Do you believe I can do this? Can I really do this? Lucy was stunned for a moment as she looked at the man in front of her with a confident smile. Did this man know what he was talking about? Just based on a few words from others, he believed that she could handle this responsibility and even said that he would fight for her at Arasaka Tower. Although Lucy didn't take Rocky's words seriously, her mood inexplicably improved and a rare smile appeared on her face. After thinking for a moment, Lucy finally spoke. I really can't help you. Okay, I promise you. But you'd better make sure that things are as you said and there won't be any other troubles. Haha, of course, my name is Lucy. Lucy looked at Rocky's face and suddenly felt a little helpless. This guy suddenly ran over and talked to her, and she got on his boat inexplicably. But anyway, maybe this is not a bad thing. Lucy also became quite interested in the person in front of her. Since he said I didn't understand him, it seemed like a good idea to get to know him. It would be really interesting if what he said was true and he really wanted to stand on top of Arasaka. Chapter 30 Drunk Rebecca, go to the location I sent you tomorrow afternoon. I'll take you to meet another teammate and discuss the action plan. After adding Lucy's contact information, Rocky sent the location of his warehouse to Lucy. Lucy responded, then took out a cigarette from her pocket and prepared to light it. She had not yet completely calmed down due to the sudden commotion, so she was ready to smoke a cigarette to calm down. Lucy brought the cigarette to her lips, but her hand paused again. She looked at Rocky and asked, "Do you smoke?" Rocky and she are teammates now, and he is not a brat like David. Lucy still chooses to respect Rocky and asks him if he minds. I don't smoke, but it's okay, you can smoke, I don't mind. Rocky doesn't have the habit of smoking. Although he doesn't like the smell of cigarettes, he is used to people smoking next to him. As long as the smell is not too strong, he can accept it. When Lucy heard that Rocky didn't mind and didn't act pretentiously, she just lit a cigarette. As the smoke spread, Lucy's heart gradually calmed down. She didn't know whether her choice was the right one, but since she had already taken the step, there was nothing to worry about. At this time, a strong man walked up to them. It was Man. Cyborg Doctor, why are you here? It seems like you two know each other. Here is your share of the money, Lucy. A stream of data flashed across Man's eyes, transferring Lucy's share of the reward for this mission to him. Lucy nodded after receiving the money and responded, we just met. When Man learned that the two had just met, he was no longer confused. Although he didn't know how Rocky hooked up with Lucy, the icy beauty, he would not interfere in their affairs. Man turned away and Lucy asked. Man calls you a prosthetic doctor. Since Rocky was a friend of Rebecca, it was not surprising that Man knew him. What made her curious was how Man addressed him. Yes, I sell prosthetics and do surgery. I occasionally do some cyberpunk work. My clinic is right there. Rocky pointed in the direction of the clinic and spoke confidently. Then I must be crazy for choosing to go to the blue-green building to kill people with a cyborg doctor. Lucy said with a slightly teasing smile. Who says it's not? Okay, I'm going back now. See you tomorrow. After finishing a cigarette, Lucy waved her hand, stood up and walked forward. Lucy was just waiting for Man to transfer the reward. She didn't really like the noisy atmosphere here. She preferred to sit quietly and look up at the beautiful starry sky. Lucy's home is in the apartment building in front. She can get home in just 2 steps. She often goes back home by herself so she doesn't have to wait for Falco to pick her up. Man and the others are used to it. See you tomorrow then. Having completed his task, Rocky did not stop Lucy. After all, they were not very familiar with each other and did not have much to talk about. Anyway, as long as they established a connection, they would have plenty of time to discuss life. I called Jack and told him that the hacking issue had been dealt with and he didn't have to worry about it anymore. After sending the warehouse address to Jack and agreeing on a time, Rocky hung up the phone. Seeing the empty seat next to him, Rocky had no choice but to stand up. People were still so happy at this time, but Rocky had no interest in integrating with them. Looking in Rebecca's direction, I found that Rebecca seemed to be lying on the bar. Rocky walked over and found Rebecca lying on the bar, wondering if she had fallen asleep. Did he drink too much? This guy is too careless, Rocky muttered. What Rocky didn't know was that this seemed to be the first time Rebecca drank so much. But there is no need to worry about Rebecca, because Man and his team are nearby. And although the people drinking here are a mixed bunch, they all know Rebecca to some extent. Rebecca is not as easy to talk to as Lucy. If anyone dares to provoke her, she will point a gun at them in the next second, so no one comes to cause trouble for them, and most people don't like her type. Rebecca did not bury her head in her arms, but lay on her side with her eyes closed. Rocky stood next to Rebecca, looking at Rebecca's face. Under the neon lights of the car bar, Rebecca's slightly tipsy face made her look particularly cute and attractive. Rocky couldn't help but stretched out his right hand and gently placed it on Rebecca's head. He felt the soft touch of Rebecca's hair, but before Rocky could finish feeling it, the body under his hand moved. Rebecca, it's me, Rocky explained hastily as he looked at the pink-green painted pistol resting against his chin. Rebecca was just a little dizzy from drinking too much, so she lay down and rested for a while, but she was not drunk. Coupled with her self-preservation reflex as a cyberpunk, the moment Rebecca felt someone touching her, she pulled out her pistol and pointed it at the culprit as if by reflex. Hey, it's Elle, is there something wrong? Rebecca came to her senses and realized it was Rocky, so she put down the pistol that was pointing at Rocky. It's nothing, I just saw you lying there and was a little worried about your condition, so I patted you. And you drank so much alcohol and you just lay here like this, I was afraid you would be in danger. Rocky explained without blushing. I see, but don't worry, you see, I react very quickly. If it were someone else, they would have been shot by now. After hearing Rocky's explanation, Rebecca didn't worry about why Rocky photographed her head instead of her shoulders. She smiled and shook the pistol in her hand at Rocky. Haha, it's really amazing, it seems I was worrying too much. No, at least I know you care about me, Elle. I'm very happy. At this time, Rebecca had a lovely smile on her slightly drunk face, and even Rocky was a little stunned. After staring at Rebecca for a while, Rocky said, by the way, Rebecca, it's not good to drink so much. Do you want to take a drive in Night City to sober up? Originally, Rocky planned to return to the clinic to finish the production of the serum, but looking at Rebecca's appearance and his slightly accelerated heartbeat, Rocky felt that making the serum was not so urgent. That's a good suggestion. This is the first time I've gotten drunk and felt dizzy. I really should sober up. But I have to talk to them first. Let's go. Rebecca held her head and accepted Rocky's proposal. Jumping off her seat, Rebecca brought Rocky to Pyrrha. Brother, I have something to do first, you don't have to wait for me. Rebecca's voice reached Pyrrha's ears, and Pyrrha, who was originally talking and laughing with others, also shifted her attention. Huh, Rebecca, what are you talking about? And who is this guy? What are you going to do with him? Hey, boy, I tell you, you'd better know what you are doing. Don't think you can touch my sister just because you are pretty. I warn you, I don't even know you. If you dare, it's so noisy.